Welcome back, everyone, to Lesser Known Operators. I am your host, Nicholas Allen, and my guest today is Travis Wilson. Been everywhere in the Green Beret community, inside uniform and out, and is one of the guys that I look up to. He always seems to be doing more, makes me want to do more. I really enjoyed sitting down and talking with him, and I hope you guys enjoy this episode as well. He is now the Chief Strategy and Marketing Officer at Stem Cell Biologics, Project R3con, and he's the founder of Alpha Elite Performance and IEP Outdoors, his nonprofit that he runs as well. I will have links to his website and socials in the show description. As usual, today's episode is brought to you by the Green Beret-owned business Precision Wellness Group and Dr. Taylor Bosley. Precision Wellness Group helps you fuel your momentum through bioidentical hormone therapy and evidence-based personalized telemedicine. Dr. Taylor Bosley is a board-certified physician, a U.S. Army veteran, and a former Green Beret. He knows where you've been, where you want to go, and how to get you there. And he's an actual doctor who can prescribe you actual medicine, unlike some of these other companies that you may have looked into or may be purchasing from now. So if HRT, TRT, hormones, peptides are something you've been looking into for a while now, or just looking into, look no further than Precision Wellness Group and Dr. Taylor Bosley. Today's episode is also brought to you by Alpha Elite Performance. Get your supplements for the gym at alphaeliteperformance.com. Use code LKO15 at checkout to save 15%. Try their pre-workout pipe hitter. It'll tune you up. I do appreciate you guys. Please remember to like, subscribe, share, comment, pass these episodes along. Thank you for listening and enjoy the show. Travis Wilson, welcome to Lesser Known Operators, man. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Good morning.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's been a long time coming on this one. A long time coming. I mean, obviously, I've been only doing the show for 8 months, but I don't know. It just seems like this is, I think it'll be the first time that we're actually going to sit down and have a chat. And
it's been a long time coming where we actually interact other than just via text messages or emails or, 2-minute phone calls,
Yeah. I have so many people, and I'm sure you have even more, that I don't even know at all that I do serious, well, you call it Instagram business with, or coordinating with, and or even working for, that I've never met face to face, and some of them I've never even spoken to. And I'm doing daily business with these people, and I'm sure you do too. Could you ever sit back and think about, like, man, I've never had a conversation with this person, yet I talk to them every day.
Yeah, it happens often. I mean, I think about that. I've been in the supplement game for a long time and the benevolent, giving game. And yeah, I've had a lot of conversations with people that never really sat down and actually had a legit in-depth conversation with. It's always just been about business or business.
Yeah.
So
yeah. That's first. That it pulls time away from everything else. Like the military will drain your time from your life completely if you let it. And business with
but
this.
Then it's great to catch up with those guys. Like, you'll go to a function and somebody walk up and be like, "That's me, man. We've been talking." And I'm like, "Oh my God, that's awesome." And we put a face to the voice, even like a physical face to the voice. So excuse me.
No, you're right. Yeah, people will say that to me, and like, "Oh, it's me." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And then I'll be messaging somebody, and I'll go, "Hey, just to cut you off here, who are you? Like, do I know you?" And they'll be like, "Yeah, from this place, this place." Like, "Oh, okay, that's cool." So we do know each other in real life. We do.
Yeah.
So it's okay. But another benefit of doing this is, how often do you get to sit down and have a 2 or 3 hour conversation with a stranger or a new friend? And then, I mean, even with people that you see face to face all the time, when's the last time you sat down and talked to somebody for 2 or 3 hours? I don't know. It's fun, and it's expanding the network, and I'm excited to hear some more, because I told you when we were messaging about you coming on, you're somebody that I've been looking forward to have coming on, because I'm always watching what you're doing. And I know, social media is, you only see the top 10% of what people are doing, but you're always doing something. And I'll see your stuff and I'll go, man, am I not doing enough? I'm not doing enough. We got to do more. How can we do more? I don't know. There's no more time in the day. You seem like you are always busy as fuck. Is that really true?
It is. I think I have an addiction to it. People have anxieties and things like that, doing too much, or mine is not doing enough. And I have tried to course correct it. Trust me, I have. But like from, hunting, taking guys hunting, I got a hunt coming up with a veteran, that I put together in September, taking people out to Africa to hunt, and just things that I want to share that I enjoy doing. I like to, so that's just one aspect of it. But then I've got the business, Alpha Elite Performance, Alpha Elite Performance Outdoors. I'm big into benevolent giving and having worked with many organizations and charities. And I think why I keep doing it though is because, my wife is with me all the time. We work together 24/7 and she gets to participate in a lot of this. So, uh, I don't feel bad when I got to leave town because it'd be like, hey, you want to come on this trip with me or you want to stay home? I give her that option. Usually she comes with me because it's someplace new. But yeah, I have to always be doing something. I want to be doing something. I want to link up with, like Justin Huffnagel, 10th Group, who's the group commander out there, is a great guy. When he came on command, when he left, I had to be there for that. Went to the 10th Group ball, to see guys. And that just is, I think, stuff that kind of helps fill little holes in my heart, I miss a lot of those guys in that community. So I like to be involved in the community and be involved with Green Berets and special operations guys, and you just always got to be doing something. Always got to be doing something. I feel object in motion tends to stay in motion, and object in rest tends to stay at rest. And I just don't want to be at rest until I'm dead.
You can sleep when I can sleep when I'm dead. A
Yeah.
guest I was speaking with last night, we got into it, and he said something, and like right as he said it, I went, "Pff, that's it." I was looking for a win. I wanted to win, right? And I went, man, if that's not a little 3-word phrase that applies perfectly to why I got into this and why I don't want to let it go. And because I could try really hard and succeed at something. And then when it's over, you're like, man, I don't want that to end. I just want to win. And I was good at that. I don't want it to end. And it seems like from looking at you, you're like, you find that healthy balance of still staying in the community and being, being a GB outside of uniform, being a Green Beret still after you're serving, and not letting it totally consume your life. So as I've
Yeah.
been thinking about that more lately, like there's got to be a healthy way to do this, to still continue what I want to do, because I worked really hard to get to where I was. Why do I
Hmm.
have to leave it behind and go do something else? I don't want to go sit in a fucking building and work for somebody else and listen to them. There's got to be a way
Yeah.
to figure this shit out. And it seems like you're figuring that out for yourself to keep that win going.
Well, you said two words: try hard and succeed. I don't look at it as winning now. You want to win the fight, you want to win the battle, you want to win the game. Now, one thing my dad always talked about leadership. He used to write leadership in the four corners of an envelope when he would email me in college, and it was always about leadership. And he'd say, "I don't care as long as you try hard and you fail. I'll know that you tried, and you'll know that you tried. Just get back out there and do it again, and then you'll succeed." And so now I'm not trying to win anything. I just want to succeed at helping as many people as I can, just because I think I've become addicted to helping people. I've seen what, a lot of these benevolent organizations can do, or what I have done for people, and it feels good. It feels great. So I try hard, and I really just want to succeed in what I do and everything that I do. And I know there's all kind of competition. I don't look at that, as other organizations out there, or businesses or competition. This world is huge, man. Like if we can all help the same people, the same group of people that need help and their families, that community of soft guys, or just civilians as well. I'm all about it. So try hard, succeed. Um, I'll be happy.
Yeah. The I've used this one before. Unless you're a used car salesman across the street from another used car salesman, uh, the customer is generally buying from you and not from,
Yeah.
like, you got to sell yourself as a product. And you just told me that when we first met down in Nashville. You're like, what's your story? You got to stand out, that quiet professional shit, that's over. You got to be professional. The professional part doesn't end, but the quiet
Yeah.
part, that's got to end. Because if nobody's hearing you make noise, then nobody's going
Yeah.
to see you. They're not.
Yeah.
you only get to stand out so much in a crowd with this because there's other people sitting on that stool as well, got their head up, and they might be taller than you and louder than you and sound better than you. Some of those things you can fix, and some of those you can't. But
Yeah.
it's there's the market is big, and I like that you said it's not competition. Like, but there's no rate. Like, it's not a race to see who wins. Now, if you want to be secure and have money in your private business, that's one thing. But on the benevolent side, there's no winning. Like, we're not going to stop some of these horrible things from happening. We can
Yeah.
uh, stem the flow, I guess. Make guys make better decisions, or leading by example rubs off on them, but everybody's going through it. Even the people that have their shit so squared away on the surface are going through something. I am the highest I ever will be, and the lowest, all in the same day, like 50 fucking times a day. That's
Yeah.
and you don't.
That is
I don't
factual.
post. I don't post that. I say it a lot, and I say, "Hey, this is honestly like how I feel all day. I feel like I'm a loser, and I can take over the world 50 times a day." And
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. I've had that feeling numerous times, but I have, man, I could talk for hours about this, but I've just come to accept whatever is given to me is, I'm a religious guy. I think that I've grown in my religion and my faith in God as I get older. It's weird. I think I saw my folks do this as well, but I pray. And whatever is given to me, whatever happens, I just roll with it. If it's something that's negative, I think about, well, how can I course correct this? What did I do wrong? And I'll think about, like, did I sin? You know, did I say something bad to somebody? I'll look at it like that. That's when I get at my low, like, oh God, what did I do to deserve this? And I'll think about that. Or maybe it was just a numbers error or something like that. Or maybe it was just a conversation that I had with somebody that wasn't as positive as it should have been. But I'll look at why I'm having a bad day or why I'm at a low, and then when I'm at that high, I absolutely am, I thank you. I have thanked God many a times for the things that he's given me. Um, I have worked my ass off, and I've never once asked, other than outside the prices of our products, I've never asked, for money for like a job. I've had other jobs. People hire me for different things. And, um, they just told me what they want to give me. And it increasingly grows and grows and grows. And I've never asked for it. It just, I work my ass off. I stay within the community. I'm positive about what I do. I believe in what I do. And I want those people to know, I want them to believe me that I believe in what I do. And and I'm telling you, it's just gratitude, and it keeps growing, and therefore I keep being rewarded with positivity. And again, I don't ask for the money or I don't ask for things like that, but it just happens. It's rolling into a good flow, and so I just want to continue to be positive. I'm trying to stop, you know, like the thought processes that I had that were negative at one time. Um, I'm really, really working on that. So much so, everybody sins, right? And we got lust of the flesh and all that. I'll see a hot girl in the industry that I'm in. I'm like, damn, that girl is fine. I am trying to cut all of that out. I will scroll right past the hot chick because I am married to one of the most beautiful women in the world. And so, I mean, it's that small to, yeah, I mean, well, that's pretty big to look at another lady and lust of the flesh, like, damn, she's hot. I just get rid of all that because I think that it really affects how I move forward in business and in life and relationships. Um, yeah, so and then when you have those big wins, and I mean, you just got to thank God. If you believe in God, thank God. Thank whoever you want to thank, but thank somebody because it happened for a reason. It happened because you did something good. It's not just by happenstance. It really isn't. Because I know a lot of negative people, and their life is just full of negativity.
well, negativity loves more negativity, but it also wants to be segregated from it as well. I don't know if I
Yeah,
believe in anything. As my understanding of how little I know gets bigger, and I maybe my brain heals a little bit more, and some other things. I am not anti-spirituality. I'm anti-religion, and
yeah,
I'm not open or closed to anything. I believe
hmm
in me, and that's about it. And if there is something at play that we can't understand, because we can't even understand our solar system, let alone anything
I
outside of
know.
that. If there's something
Yeah.
at play that we can't understand or a different dimension or something behind the curtain, um, I when I close my eyes and lay down, the only person I can depend on is the voice in my head. And if
Yeah.
I don't have that one on my side, then I'm not going to be able to accomplish anything. And that has worked for me. And if there's something out there that created all of this, well, then they created this too. And I'm going
Yeah.
to work with,
Well, that's the biggest
with,
voices in your head. That's the biggest one you need to be listening to,
yeah.
for sure.
But as I just said earlier, this dude's telling me I'm a loser 50 times a day as well. And you got to,
Well, kick him off that shoulder over there, you know?
but that's and coming back from it. Um, and that's why I say, this is how it is, right? I am eating
Yeah.
right, sleeping right, exercising right, schedule, content with my schedule, producing things I like, and
Yeah.
still it goes like that because that's self-doubt, the imposter syndrome, the comparing yourself
Yeah.
to others. And somebody put it one way the other day. It was one of the Shark Tank guys. And he said, it's signal and noise, and you got to focus on the signal
Hmm.
and go work on those things that are most important to keep you traveling the direction that you're going. And all that
Yeah.
noise, that's just going to pull you away from the direction you're trying to go. And we're limited
You
by what
sound
we can
like
process.
an 18 Echo uh, cat cadre.
Aren't you an Echo though?
I was, yeah.
Not anymore.
No, and I'll tell you, I'll straight up say it just so everybody knows. I am a Green Beret. I served 21 years, most of that in SOF. But I was a very mediocre Green Beret. I did some things that were pretty cool, got some awards. But as far as being an Echo, I was not the Echo that people came to for education or training. Now, granted, I never missed a shot. Um, but I was the one that was like, I hate being an Echo because prior to that, I was a medic and went to war as a medic and loved that. Went to school for exercise science. And then I go to the Q course in 2004 and, and they're like, yeah, so you're going to be an Echo. I'm like, I just got back from Iraq. I was a medic. I was an airborne medic, all this stuff. Like, what's the deal? I went to selection in 99 and had a break in service because I wanted to go back to school at Boise State. Uh, in 99, I took all those tests and stuff like that. And I didn't even think to ask what I was, because I just assumed I'd be a Delta. But yeah, all that stuff came back saying like, oh, he'd be perfect for an Echo. And so they made me an Echo. And, hats off to Sergeant First Class Nguyen, moment of silence. He's gone as well. He was a first group guy, killed in action after his time in the Q course as an instructor, but he chewed my ass out. And then he came out later on, not like he was apologetic, but he's like, look, dude, I know you want to be a medic, but we have so many medics in the pipeline right now, you're going to be a holdover for like a year and a half. Just shut up and be an Echo, be a Green Beret. I'm like, okay, yeah, I don't want to sit around for a year painting rocks. So yeah, he saved me.
Um, and
He
then
did give me the option to be a Bravo though. And I was like, nah, now I wish I would have.
no, I don't want to. Nothing wrong with that. The jokes do write themselves though. So that was 2000. You said 2004. I think
Yeah.
two. Let me see from one of my guests. I think 2 years after that, they took half of the Bravos and Echoes, or no, Charlies and Echoes or something, and sent them to the Delta course or something because they didn't have any Deltas going through the course. And then they all failed. Like they sent all these dudes over there, and every single one of them like failed out. And the guy who was at the relief board, who was the president of the board, he starts getting pissed. He's like, "Why are we relieving all these guys?" And he starts talking to him. He goes, "Why are you guys all? What the fuck?" And he starts yelling at them. And he goes, "Sir, we were in the Echo course, the Charlie course, and they just sent us over here to be Deltas." And he like, "Oh." And he fucking went and fixed that shit. He's like, "What the
Yeah.
fuck are you?" He had no idea that they had moved those things
Yeah.
around or something like that. So, yeah, the course, every good idea is counteracted by an equal and opposite bad idea on the inverse side of it. It goes in this fucking again, up and down all the time, and whatever. It produces guys, it doesn't produce guys, it doesn't produce enough, produces too much, fucking whatever. It's so weird, the
Well,
decisions that get made.
in 2006, we went to Baghdad, Iraq, and my teammate, we were on two different objectives. The helicopter set down. I did my thing on the roof and all that, and firefights ensued, and nobody could find the Charlie, the senior Charlie. And Charlie won. He just was not answering the radio. And of course, I had dual comms. I was on the rooftop of one building with the commander, actually Justin Huffnagel, who was the group commander, 10th Group. We were on. He was captain at the time, and and I looked over the rooftop and saw Charlie 1 laying behind the building. He went in through the front door. Well, the Iraqis had drug him out there. And they were just, white lighting him with flashlights. And I'm like, what the hell? And I'm saying, hey, I got Charlie 1, but they were in a firefight in the building. And we were doing our thing on this building, having just cleared it. I just raced. I just left my post, said, hey, I'll be down there with Charlie 1. I found him, and he had been shot in the chest. And what was great is that, having been a medic, I knew what to do because the other medics were on different objectives and doing their thing. And so he's retired now, Ty Fisher, just a stud of a soldier, came sliding in like he was sliding to third base, returning fire to the rooftop. And so that I could do my thing. And so I started using his kit and all that. Anyway, Jake's still with us today, and thriving. But had I not had those medical skills, Jake probably wouldn't be here. He took it to the brachial plexus region. And so I got to do a lot of stuff. I mean, having been a medic in war as well during the invasion really helped out. So it was nice to be able to save his life. And then after that, when your team sergeant comes to you and said, hey, the doctor in Balad was like, hey, whoever got to him first is the reason why Jake is still here. And that made me, that was probably my most proudest moment in my military career. But I've saved multiple lives, as a medic. But that one was the most meaningful one. And so after that, people knew me as like the third medic. So I really started to get lazy as an echo, like, and, seriously got lazy as an echo. And then, that's when I also started spiraling downhill mentally, as far as I just lost my father, started going through a divorce, bunch of other bullshit. And then I just didn't really give a shit. And this is where I think, I wasn't really the best soldier that I could have been, and really started to piss off my peers and all that stuff. But there was a wake-up call with a near fatal free fall accident, which completely changed my life. So we can get to that too if you want.
Maybe. Did you do a needle D in real life?
I did not do that. Actually, the medic, Matt, he actually ended up doing that one. I was just more worried about doing pressure in the bleeding, because it was profuse, and I had to, that exit wound on his back was immense, and that entrance wound was I lifted his arm, like just trying to cut his kit off, and it hit an artery right into my mouth. So I have Jake's DNA in me, but
Somewhere.
But yeah, it was all about stopping that bleeding and getting that hole plugged and doing that the best that I could with what I had. But really, it was just a lot of pressure, getting that kid off, and stopping that bleeding. Because the last thing he said was, "Hey man, I'm going," and he was cold and eyes shut and not talking anymore. And so it was all about getting that blood flow stopped. But yeah, we got him into the helicopter with a couple of the Iraqi Jundi dudes. And from there, I believe, I was told that he did die in the helicopter. They got him Balad, and probably had died there as well, but they just started pumping him with blood. And I remember seeing him off on a C-17, not very long. We were still on that mission, and we went straight to Balad because we were told that he was going to be loaded onto a C-17. He had a C-17 to himself, I believe, to get to launch duel. And so I saw him off there, and he was still alive. But man, it looked like, from one little bullet, it looked like he had just had open heart surgery. So yeah, it was insane. But yeah, there was the needle decompression done probably a couple of times, I would imagine, on the way to the hospital. So there were definitely some chest tubes, all that stuff. So yeah, but
Can't
he's
even
still here.
imagine.
Yeah, it was, and that one, I mean, that was just one bullet wound, man. I'm telling you, as a medic, so I was at the 21st Combat Support Hospital, and every day, multiple times a day, you had soldiers coming in, whether they be Americans or Iraqis, even. They were coming into our cache, our emergency room, and so I was emergency room tech, and it was great to once you got into the flow of things, and the docs trusted you, you got to do a lot of shit, like intubations, you name it. We were doing it, chest tubes, as a medic, that's what we were doing. So it was phenomenal, training, but also saving those lives. And I saw lots and lots of, I mean, it was, and I was at Balad too. And so, we had followed up Fourth ID as they cleared all that region. Then we set up everything, and then the war just ensued. And, um, but yeah, lots of that stuff. Uh, but maybe it was a blessing in disguise to have been turned into an 18 Echo. I don't know where my life would have gone as a Delta had I even made it, whatnot. But everything happens for a reason. Um, so yeah,
Yeah, I feel you there. Except I was thinking I had a conversation with somebody, and I said, I looking back on it now, I took the easiest route to graduation. I 100% did, because how can I, after I failed at selection, or I got medical pulled at selection the first time, I came back and I was like, we're going to, whatever it is to get that beret, right? So selection, too easy. Went to the course. All right, what do you want to be? Charlie. That's going to be the easiest route. I mean, I've been working construction at that point for 10 years at least. And I was like, okay, we're going to do Charlie. That's going to be easy. And it was. The Charlie course I was the best in the course at the Charlie course. I was middle of the pack the rest of the way, but at the Charlie course, I was the number one student in that whole class. And
you were good at calc and place.
everything in the Charlie course was fine, no issues, and especially
Good.
the construction portion and that. But rest of the course, I was middle of the pack, just kind of like, okay, well, fuck, what are we doing here, guys? Yeah, we get a group of guys, but
Yeah.
I kind of wish I maybe would have got a few more technical skills, like being an Echo or Delta or something like that, because there's nothing I use today from the Charlie course or being a Charlie that I use in real life. Like
Yeah.
I think I already knew a significant portion of that stuff. And very rarely while doing this show do I have to make any demo charges. It's a rare occasion that I have to do anything like that. So it's maybe it would have been
Yeah. I'd
better,
say
but
I'm the worst. I'm the worst Echo now. I
everything's
don't know jack and shit.
it's all extinct now. Everything that exists even 5 years ago. I mean, you got out
Yeah.
a while ago, and none of that stuff's still in circulation.
Well,
It's
don't
all
say it like that. Don't say a while ago. It's just
okay.
2017.
That's a while ago. Like I got out in
It's a
18.
hot minute. Hot minute.
There's dudes that have gone through the entire Q course and done their first term and gotten out since you've gotten out.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. God dang. Yeah. Yeah.
It is. It's true. I had somebody on. It's like, when did you graduate? They're like, oh, I got out in 2025 or four. I was like, wait, when did you get in? Oh, fuck, man. I'm old now. God damn it.
Yeah. 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 That's the way it is. That's the way it is. But yeah, but I don't have any regrets, man. I was pretty pissed about being an Echo, but there's a reason why it happened, and I went with it. Being an 18 Echo, the 18 Echo course was easy. It was really just a lot of theory, and chucking your 2-quart canteen up into a tree, and it was fun. I had a lot of fun. We had a really good group of guys. Chris Vallejo was in my class. He's now passed as well, but a lot of good names of dudes that that have moved on to either Delta or whatnot. But yeah, it was awesome. I definitely. I heard you say the other day, could you go back through the course? Could you do it now? Are you physically fit enough to do it? I wish that I was. I mean, I'm physically fit, but I've also got 2 partial knee replacements, disc replacement, ankle reconstruction, and a number of surgeries on this arm and shoulder. So I don't think I'd be able to make it physically, but mentally, absolutely. Absolutely. I could totally do it. I'd love to go back through SEER just for shits and giggles.
That's one where people have told me stuff afterwards and I go, oh, Oh, fuck. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, that's what was going on there. Yeah, that one, what a fucking mind fuck that was. Physicality aside, could you do it again in your mind? Could you make yourself do it again if physicality wasn't a constricting factor? Because
Yeah.
going back again, I mean, I went to selection twice. That's a fucking mind fuck. You are stressed out to the max. And even knowing everything and knowing how the course works and group works and going back, you still don't know. Like you still don't know. That's the only portion of your career where you don't know if you're going to pass, because you can work as hard as you possibly can, do everything right, and you still don't make it. Like there were dudes standing right next to you, like, what the fuck, that guy didn't make it, you know? And so it's one that you're like, I don't know. The course is designed to be passed. Every Army school is designed to be passed. They tell you exactly what you need to do to graduate.
Yeah.
Selection's not that way. And you have to take this leap of faith of like, I'm gonna do my best and leave it all on the
Hmm.
table. And that's kind of, yeah. But all those blurbs I write, those are just I write them as I see them, everything in my head, and
Yeah.
they're so simple. So that's
Yeah.
hindsight to come up from, but it leaves room for the next post for that comes up.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. I'll tell you, I wanted to be I was a medic in the Army. I went to Alaska. I was at the 501st Airborne Medic, all that good stuff. And my dad was Air Force Pararescue. He was a PJ. And man, I heard all his great stories and met all his buddies about doing all that good shit in Vietnam for the, few tours that he was over there with. There's a movie called Bat 2-1 out that's out. My dad was a part of that mission because it was, a number of days. Bat 2-1's a great movie. He was in, I've got the audio file from Boxer 2-2 and I've listened to that. Um, and what a great, just, I don't want to say it was a great war, but just as far as movies and all that, that stemmed from it. I mean, be able to hear my dad, on these audio tapes and stuff and see his medals. I was like, well, and as a kid, he used to sing stanzas, pin silver wings on my son's chest, make him one of America's best. He would sing that when he would come downstairs to wake me up. And to me, I just always thought that meant, airborne, because he always talked about being airborne as a PJ. Uh, and in the Air Force, back in those days, being a PJ was, tier one. Um, so I was like, great, airborne, but I didn't realize that it was part of Barry Sadler's, the Ballad of the Green Berets until I was older. And we talked about it when he was still alive, and he said, oh yeah, we used to pick up Green Berets all the time. And I was just so enamored. Like, where did these guys come from? Why are they wearing blue jeans? Why are they dressed like this? Like, how long have they been out? And and a lot of the times, they had conversations, but most of the time it was like, don't ask. So he flew out of Thailand and he was in those doing stuff in those other countries as well, picking these guys up. Like, what were these dudes doing? So I wanted to become a Green Beret one for myself, because I wanted to be better than, just a regular Army guy. And then two, to make him proud, as a guy who used to see these Green Berets and wonder what, they were doing. And so at graduation, when I became a Green Beret, um, the biggest hug in the world from him. Of course, he was wearing his shirt with like a PJ patch over here and a PJ patch over here, and he wanted everybody to know that he was Air Force Pararescue. In fact, at Airborne School, when we went to dinner at the end of Airborne School, he's like, "You got any PJs in your class?" I'm like, "I do." He's like, "Grab them. Let's all go." I was like, "Shit!" So he took everybody to dinner to tell stories, but yeah, I, I I became a Green Beret because I didn't want to be a regular Army guy, and I became a Green Beret to make my father happy, and really to just be a part of one of the best communities in all of the military, and that's not just the Green Beret community, but the soft community as a whole. So,
Pretty heavy hitters. When did you realize that what level of like badass your dad was? Because growing up as a kid, you go, okay, so yeah, stories. I'm a kid. I'm an idiot. You don't understand. But as you started
yeah.
learning more about the military and being in the military and going, oh, there's differences in different units and the people do different things. When did you start to realize like, oh shit, he did some crazy stuff?
Uh, Man, your dad's always badass in your eyes, right? And so mine always was, because he was a badass. The way he talked to people, he ended up becoming a physician assistant, and He's a very stern, direct kind of in your face dude, but in a polite way. It was pretty interesting to see how, and everybody loved Big John. That was his name, Big John. Um, it wasn't until after I joined the service and really and started jumping out of planes and we could have those conversations. I wasn't, and I dove into learning more about pararescue and what they did, and then asking him those questions. He didn't really talk about Vietnam. He's not going to tell those kind of stories to his little kid. It wasn't until I had started doing shit. It wasn't until I started earning the respect of I mean, he always respected me, but I had to earn that respect of earning those stories, like, okay, you're jumping out of planes, you're in a medic, and I was a PJ and we're all medics. And, you know, so it was after I joined the military where I started hearing those stories and found, damn, my dad was a badass, like I knew he went to Vietnam a few times. Well, what did you do in Vietnam? Where were you? I saw pictures, but I didn't understand what they were. And then when I became a Green Beret is when I started hearing more about, I think to him also becoming a Green Beret, he started to remember some of the stories and picking up Green Berets and all that. And yeah, it was, I think when I had joined the service when I found out he was a badass. He was a PJ, great. You sound like pajamas. But when when I figured it out, I was like, man, damn, PJs are badass. And he always used to, I love this. If there's any combat controllers listening, my dad always used to say back in those days, um, combat controllers are nothing but PJ failures. But you say that now, uh, CCT is, god dang, those dudes are badass and what they're doing. And I've heard rumors of getting rid of pararescue or, because CCT can do it all. It's just all kind of, I don't know what the rumors are, but they're all badass in their own right. And they do some amazing things. But yeah, my dad he was a badass. And let me tell you, he went out a badass. And this is probably the best part of this whole podcast is that my dad was on his deathbed. He ended up getting MRSA in the hospital, the same hospital he worked at as a PA. And he had lung cancer and prostate cancer at the same time, had the surgeries done. The MRSA hit the lung where they did the surgery, and he was dead in a month, but he was on this Darth Vader breathing machine because his lung just didn't work. But he's like, I'm not taking this off until my buddies come. And we called all the buddies, the PJ buddies that were still alive, and they all came. Um, and this son of a bitch it was August 19th. So they just passed. All his buddies, like, are they here? In that Darth Vader voice that he could muster. And I'm like, yeah, man, they're here. He's like, all right, let's fucking do this. And I was like, whew, what? He has me choked up in a good way because he was such a stud. But yeah, he said, yeah, take that off. Let's do this. They came in, we all hung out with him, and he called it time and date, and went to sleep. A fucking stud.
Out on top.
Yeah.
His version of the top.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
tough,
Show
man.
off. Fucking show off.
I'm not going to let this get me down. A different,
Yeah.
when they say different time and place and generation, it's not even close. Like, we have some guys, the current guy that you'll get sent to Singapore or the Philippines, and you'll be out in the woods, right? But these guys, and you might be out of contact for a day, and you have some ambiguous orders, right? These guys were living in the fucking woods with no contact, and their indigenous force over the border in Laos and raising partner force and all this. And the government didn't know where the fuck they were or what they were doing. Completely cut off. There's no support. There's no QRF. There's no, you got to send out these signals to get your drop, to get your guns for your, like, completely unfathomable today. And these guys were out there doing that shit. And you say, oh, we go up and pick up, why are they in blue jeans? Like, yeah, these guys are fucking going native and living in the backwoods of across the border that we didn't even acknowledge for 30 or 40 years or something like that. The one guy didn't get his Medal of Honor for 40 years because they didn't declassify his, and he was a medic, school teacher, medic. And they're like, I forget his name now. But Mr. Johnson, he's getting the Medal of Honor today for heroism in Vietnam. on a classified
Yeah.
mission. Like, holy shit, man. So
Yeah.
completely different from what we can even conceptualize in a jungle far away. So hats off to those
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've even been to Thailand a couple times to train when I was with the 501st. Uh, and I'd walk around like if this is what Vietnam was like, holy shit, how scary. Like you can't see 3 feet in front of you. It's just insane. But yeah, and then the snakes, don't get me started with that shit.
No, the one what I posted yesterday about the two trees close together and the spiders, and everybody's getting the heebie-jeebies and stuff. Those banana spiders will jump out and swallow you whole.
Yeah, right.
Did you
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
feel like you had to join the military, or was because you said you'd had a break and went to college, or went back to college? What'd you try first, the
Yeah.
military or college?
Actually, I tried college first. Right out of high school, I went to a military academy prep school called called Wentworth Military Academy in Lexington, Missouri. And I went through basic camp, which is, the ROTC basic camp, basic training in Fort Knox. Um, and then I went to Wentworth immediately after that because I was playing football there, a little Division II school, JUCO. And yeah, I went there for a year and really just hated it because I can say it now. I was not ready mentally, and maturity was not there. It was like I was lacking, and it showed in my grades. It showed in my attitude. Uh, so I just said, I've got to do something with my life, where I'm gonna, because I wasn't getting good grades, and you're just pissing your life away at that point. So I joined the service and said I'm just gonna go be a hard charger in the army. Um, but yeah, it was. They did those 4 years, 5 years, 4 years, and went to selection. And it really came down. My buddy called me because I also grew up playing hockey, and he's like, "Hey, man, Boise State's starting a hockey program. Just come up here and walk on. You could definitely make the team." And so I was part of. I did. I was like, it was a choice of, okay, well, I want to finish school, and I've been taking classes in while I was active duty, at the University of Alaska Anchorage while I was there, and. And I said, well, I kind of do want to go back to school. I'm young enough. And so I got out. I upped their selection, really pissed those guys off because they said, hey, you got selected. You're going to go to the Q course. So I went back to school for a couple years at Boise State, played hockey. And, but, 9/11 had happened and all this stuff. And 9/11 happened while I was as I was getting out in Alaska. And I was going to stay in, but they didn't stop losses. But Alaska, the 501st wasn't doing anything, but they were just going to go guard the pipeline, the Alaska pipeline up there. So I just got out. But all the wars really started kicking off, and I was like, man, I gotta go. I gotta go back. So I did. When school was finished, I just went back in the army right away and called up the branch and said, they're like, no, hell no, we don't want you. Go to war first, and then give us a call. So I told the army, and the army took me back like that. They were like, yes, we need you. And you went to school for exercise science? That's even better. So I went back in enlisted. I lost a rank, so I went as an E4. I got out as an E5, but easily got that E5 back. And called the SF branch while I was in Iraq once we started getting phones and stuff like that. And I was like, hey, I really want to be a Green Beret. How can we do this? And started emailing them. Anyway, it all ended up like, go take a PT test and you better score a perfect on this thing with an SF recruiter. And so went back to Fort Hood, took a PT test, knew I was going to pass that bad boy because that's all I did was work out or work as a medic in Iraq. And yeah, so they're like, cool, let's do this. And I didn't have to go back through selection. They just sent me to Q course.
Is that 5 years? And it's only supposed to be two. They only give you 2 years. They give you five and a break in service. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I was a salesman though. I sold myself pretty good. It's probably why I'm in sales now. Um, but yeah, but that, like, they sent me, I think, he was a first group guy and there was a recruiter. I can't remember his name, but man, he was like, oh yeah, Wilson, know about you. So I went and did the PT test and, smoked it. And he's like, good job. You'll hear back from us. So yeah.
A lot of guys will say, oh, yeah, I called branch and I did this, or I talked to Sergeant Major and got this worked up. And you hear that story quite a lot. But then you start thinking about it, you're like, I don't really hear it that much. A lot of these conversations and back alley deals are pretty atypical because guys are just too afraid to go push for it or to ask. or
Yeah.
to put a sticky on Sergeant Major's desk saying, "Hey, I'd rather go be a recruiter or a drill sergeant than go to SWIC,"
Yeah.
because my hometown's Lawton, Oklahoma. They're too
Yeah.
afraid to go ask that stuff. And the one thing I say on here is like, hey, it can't hurt. Like, if you're afraid to do it, so are the other Green Beret men stud in the hallway. If they're afraid to go, you're afraid to go do it, they are too. So just go do it. And maybe you can influence where you go. And the same with
Yeah.
calling that sergeant major at the HRC, because he's, a '06 level sergeant major at this point at HRC. He's probably going, yeah, this is a fun project. Let's fuck with this guy. Cause he's just dealing with the
Yeah.
same bullshit all the time. He goes, oh, fucking 5-year break in service. I'm going to
Yeah.
and then he goes to his buddy who's like the armor branch, and he goes, "Hey, you think this guy's gonna? I'll bet you $5 this guy doesn't pass." Like, you're on,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I envision them all sitting around like that round table in that one black and white movie of
Yeah.
at HRC. But you
Yeah.
know, you gotta have fun with that stuff. So they probably hear that stuff too, and they're like, we're gonna have fun with this guy. Because they're bored. They get
Yeah.
bored too. The cadre get bored. Everybody does. They get something atypical. Well, let's help
Yeah.
this guy out.
Yeah. Well, I had a phone call actually before going to take that PT test. It was actually a major that I talked to, an SF major. It was always enlisted before that, the branch people, but the major, he just told me, he's like, hey, essentially, we're going to take a chance on you. You better pass this PT test. And because I assume he could have just fucked with the rest of my career, or I would have just gotten out. You know what I mean? So yeah, I went into that PT test nervous as shit. And I'm looking at this Green Beret from first group who, he's been to combat, and he's, but combat that I wanted to go to. I did the combat, of saving lives and all that stuff, but I wanted to go be a Green Beret in combat. He did it all, and it was very intimidated. And so I also think that the adrenaline was running, and it was by far the best PT test I'd ever had in my entire life. Like, I wish there was an elevated scale. He didn't tell me. He just told me, good job. You'll hear from us. So, but yeah.
The PT test this time so simple: push-ups, sit-ups, run. I
Yeah.
found that if I went into the PT test amped up, I started getting tired on the first half mile of the 2-mile run, because I was like, just smash the push-ups, smash the sit-ups, and then like, oh, we got a
Yeah.
15-minute break. What? Oh, I'm ready to
Well, this
go.
was just me.
Yeah, so I've done those where the whole PT test, the one I did to go to selection, I grabbed my NCO. I was like, I need a PT test. He's like, all right, we'll do it tomorrow morning. How long is it going to take? I said, no more than 20 minutes. And I, I, I said, I just need 75, 80 in a 13-minute. And he's like, okay. And he's watching me. So I hit 75. I turned over, banged out 80 sit-ups, and then got up. We just walked over there and I ran. We were done in like 20 minutes. He's like,
Yeah.
well, I
Yeah.
think you're ready to go. I was like, yeah, I'm ready to go. But, you said you'd done combat as a medic in the regular army. Why did you want to go do combat as a Green Beret? Did you see something, or was it just past stories, or some hero's tale in your head, or what was leading you to that? Why I want to do that?
Well, so I was a medic in an airborne infantry unit, and I wanted to go, to combat. Like, you just constantly train, right? We're just constantly training. I want to go to war. You don't crave it, you don't wish for it, but if it ever comes down to it, you're open to going because that's what you do. So I always envisioned myself as like, I was enamored with Vietnam as well. Took, some advanced placement classes on Vietnam history and all that. And really, uh, just knew that I wanted to do that. I wanted to be in combat with my boys and save some lives and all that stuff. But then as a medic in Iraq at the 21st Combat Support Hospital, I had Green Berets bringing in, you know, um, Kelly Hornenbeck was one of my patients. He's dead. He died. Anyway, it doesn't matter, but he was one of our patients. And I met Ken Lehman was the medic that came in. He's gone as well. And then I met Ben Koski, who I went through basic train with. He was actually in there too. He's like, whoa, what the fuck are you doing here? And I was like, what are you doing here? My life, it just started to, once I became a medic at 21st Combat Support Hospital, I'm saving lives. And I enjoyed that. I like doing that job, but I wanted to be out there. I didn't want to take lives, but I wanted to just be on the other end of the job of, being a Green Beret. I wanted to do that. there wasn't really anything other than I wanted to be out there with them, you know? But I also wanted to be a medic. I wanted to be a Delta. So I wanted to do all of the stuff that Green Berets do plus being a Delta, but it just, they made me an Echo. Um, I've just always wanted to be part of the best. And these guys were coming in. Ken Lehman came in with Kelly Hornbeck when he passed, and he's wearing a shirt and his fatigues, and the shirt says, "I love hookers." And then in small print underneath, headers, hookers, headers. And it was funny because these nurses were just like, oohing and ahhing over this guy because of his t-shirt and what he looked like. And I'm like, hey, ladies, I'm still here. But, it was, you see that and what people think about the Green Beret or the Navy SEAL or the MARSOC guy or those guys come in. You want to be like that. I'm just, at the time, I was just the medic over on table 4, taking care of whatever patient came in at that point. Like, a TV show of MASH, people come in, you get at the table. But I wanted to be that guy, that special operations guy that was bringing these dudes in, and getting that attention. We're all attention whores. When you get to that level, you become an attention whore for the most part. Look at my Green Beret. Look at my pants unbloused. Look at my swagger. You love it when a sergeant major on post sees you and says, "Hey, fucking tuck your boots or your blouse your pants or whatever. Put your headgear on." "Oh, you mean my beret?" Not all of us acted like that, but the majority of them did. But I will say 100% looked for that attention, because one thing that Green Berets or special operations in general, we're pretty ego driven. We are, for the most part, we are ego driven. When you get to this level and you pass, ego fucking skyrockets. You just need to be able to control it and check it at the door when need be, which I also think most soft guys are capable of doing as well. We know when to do that. So I wanted to be that guy, man. I just didn't want to be a regular Army dude. Which, no, I'm not bashing them. God bless them. We need them. We would not win wars if it weren't for all the support and the regular Army guys that are also kicking ass and taking names. I just wanted to be that next level. So yeah,
My my perception of the regular Army up until recently was my experience at Fort Sill, which is totally incorrect. That is not the regular Army. It's probably a good portion of it is similar to that, but that's not the 82nd. That's not the 101st. That's not,
yeah,
some of these airborne units that run around. I started to realize that. I went, Nick, you don't even know what you're fucking talking about. And that's why I said earlier, like, the more I learn, I don't know what I'm talking about. Like, I don't know. All I knew about the
yeah,
82nd was your first combat or your first jump would be a daytime slick jump. And then after that, everything's combat 550 feet at night, combat equipment
yeah,
jump. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's it. And then, okay, back to the Q course, because that's just what dudes are telling me in the Q course. I didn't know the life. You're running around training, you're out in the field, you're living in the woods. Like, we went to the field in the fucking motor pool once. Uh, and okay, and that's what I just thought. I was like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. I would have had a lot more fun had I gone to a regular Army unit, maybe
yeah,
airborne unit, and have that. So, um, yeah, I know what you're saying there. You at least got to see, to do stuff and see. My first time seeing a Green Beret was at selection, like getting on the
yeah,
bus to go out there. That was my first time ever seeing a Green Beret, because our recruiter was a CA guy, and that's just how it was. So different perspectives, as you said. There's nothing wrong with there being a regular Army, and I'm sure there's a lot of people happy doing that job there.
yeah,
Now that I
yeah,
know that other side of things is there, because I changed my perspective. I start to learn more, and then I realize
yeah,
I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But
yeah,
with when did the helping others thing really start? Right, because you became a medic, you're like, I want to help people, and then you saw Green Berets, you're like, oh, that's a more professional, soldierly way of helping people. And then you get out and you got Alpha Elite Performance, you're helping people get fit, and Alpha Elite Performance Outdoors. Now you're doing best of both worlds, GBF, and now
yeah,
Cal Bio. So it's all just this ramp up of creating a more, I don't know, more substantial way of helping people that you're ramping up to.
yeah.
So when did that start? Was it when you became a medic, or was it before that?
Yeah, I think I've always enjoyed helping people. I mean, I grew up being the guy that picked on the bullies, I loved fucking with the bullies that were picking on kids that, were of lesser value to them or whatever. Um, but, I think both my parents were in the medical field, so I saw them helping people medically. and I think I just kind of started to drift that way into helping folks. So became a medic, and then learned more about what Green Berets do. They're not just shooters and door kickers, but they're teachers, and to free the oppressed. Really kind of dove into that motto, and really enjoyed that, and what they do for others. Excuse me, but so my near fatal free fall accident is when life changed for me. Uh, it was a night jump, uh, practice jump on ODA 0434 that my buddy Jay and I had just stood up, and team sergeant just got there from SWIC as a free fall instructor, and we yeah, I always exit the plane last, and I was the assistant JM, and then I was leading the stick in because it was the heaviest, and I hit a night dust devil or something like that. Canopy had opened, we were on comms talking to each other already, but I hit something, and the right side of my canopy collapsed about right after 500 feet. There's no time for any emergency procedures below. When you come on final, there's no time for emergency procedures if you have an accident. And so I just spun all the way down to the ground and, splat. And Bico was on the ground. And they heard it. Said it was like two rocks slapping together. Um, anyway, time in the hospital and all that shit. My life had changed. It was like, you need to, because I had started going on this downhill spiral of just being a complete prick. I recently apologized to a sergeant major now, because he was one of my juniors. I was like, man, I'm sorry I was such a dick to you. Like, he's like, no, dude, I needed it really. So I thought I was being an asshole, but he needed it. It all worked out. But, um, that accident, uh, it changed my life. I needed to now, uh, start thinking about, the betterment of myself, because I was going through a divorce, lost my father. Now my career's on the line. What can I do to better myself? Well, now I need to fix my career, because they told me, hey, fix yourself or you're going to get medically boarded. So I did, after surgeries and all that stuff, I, found a way to, I loved health and fitness. So I found a way to just get rid of a lot of the inflammation in the body and work out and stay, within the Army. I think that I just barely passed, whatever physicals that was having to stay in, but they turned me into, they sent me to the RSE and made me part of the regional support element, which is a little handshake, element, between an agency and the Green Beret Foundation, or Green Beret, sorry. And, so I became a nerd, level 3 RSE, all that stuff. But yeah, really, well, what was the question? Shit, now I'm forgetting.
The progression from helping people to where you are now. Where did it all start? But you said the big turning point was when you got injured.
Yeah, no, that was the big point. Turning point was just helping myself, fixing myself, which then turned into, a new job in special forces in the RSE. And then, um, people started to hear my story, like, oh, you're the dude that burned in and lived. And so they started asking me to speak at, events and things like that. And that's where I learned more about the benevolent side of, uh, giving, of these nonprofits out there, and learned about the Green Beret Foundation. And, they asked me to be an ambassador for them. So I just, was an ambassador for them. Um, and yeah, so I really, that's where I started to enjoy giving back and speaking, telling you a story that to me doesn't sound like much, but people think it's amazing. Um, and I talk about Jake in that story. More people are impressed by, burning in with a half a canopy and living. Uh, but I liked seeing the money that made for those organizations, and then hearing about where that money went to help Green Berets and their families. That kind of became addictive, for me. Like, oh, well, let's see how much we can raise next time, And I was a keynote speaker at a number of conferences and stuff, but one in particular in Atlanta for homeless veterans, raised over $1.4 million. And then from that, I went to another conference 2 years later at the Military Influencer Conference, was a keynote speaker there. And a lady came up to me and said, was that you that spoke at the veteran homeless event? I'm like, it was. She's like, that was by far the best speech I've ever heard in my life. And it was a little tearjerker story. I talk about my life and losing a wife, and I've lost a son. I've also lost my father. And so I really just kind of break it down, and it just talks about perseverance. And so that So helping people, um, it just became addictive, and I enjoy doing it. It's not addictive for anything, a fulfillment for me now. I just enjoy doing it because I know that I think I've been given a platform. I've been given a story, and if there's anybody out there that wants to hear it, I love to come and tell that story to help you raise money for whatever whatever cause you're raising money for. I raise money for my own cause with my own nonprofit, and do this for other nonprofits as well. But that accident also, I was like, well, let me start a business. So I started a supplement nutrition company in Colorado Springs, which then in 2015 morphed into Alpha Elite Performance. Uh, and we are a supplement nutrition company that, helps people with supplements. There are some shitty supplements out there, and there's some good supplements. We're the good supplements, and we make sure that we're the good supplements. So, yeah,
Shameless plug. Use code LKO15 at checkout to save 15% on Alpha Elite Performance products.
nice,
Um,
nice plug.
yeah, right. I just stuck an ad in my own show. I make the rules. My scheduling department over there, they can deal with it later. But you said with the money, you never asked, except for the prices on your products, for money from people. You just do it. Um,
Hmm.
there's I watched an interview with Tom Arnold, right? And he said, that Alcoholics Anonymous, or the sponsor sponsee relationship, right? It becomes kind of addictive, like, because you're helping them and that helps you. So it's like this selflessness, two sides of the same
Yeah,
coin sort of thing. And, you know, it's just good and bad. Like you're like, oh, that because you can make something that you really enjoy not fun anymore. Like if
yeah,
you love going to the gym, somebody on Saturday at the gym, they gave me a compliment, and they said, I wish I could be like you. And I went, listen, man, to be honest with you, there's a trade off in some of these things. I'm so obsessed with my fitness and my health and some other things that I don't know if it's that healthy. I'm happy where I'm at, but I don't know if it's that healthy. So I was like, just stay with what makes you content and what makes you happy,
yeah,
and don't let it get toxic. And I was just like, I'm just
yeah,
being serious with you. Like, I don't know if what I'm doing is healthy. It makes me feel good, but I don't know if it would be good for anybody else. And like, that's what you got to do with that. You got to not let that become too much, like too much. Like, I want more. And it can never be
yeah,
enough. Just like in the military, right? In SF, no, you would never say no to a tasking or an ask, or, hey, I need a guy for this. You'd never say no for that shit and you'd
yeah,
sacrifice your family and everything you care about just to go to do that thing. And it's going to end.
yeah,
And you probably realized that pretty quick after you got hurt. You're like, this is, this is going to end someday. And I gotta start taking care of me, but also, how do I keep this going? How do I keep helping other people? And then it morphs into what you're doing now. So it's
yeah.
interesting to see the
It keeps
nexus.
morphing too. Keeps morphing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I don't know where any of this stuff's going to go with the show. People say, what are your goals with the show? I want to tell people stories. Other benefits, I want to be able to sit at a dinner and somebody walk up to me and say, hey, Nick, the keynote speaker didn't make it tonight. Can you give a speech on XYZ? And with no notes, no preparation, I can go up there and stand up there and give a speech on anything. That's how good at speaking I want to be. And God, this is the 85th episode I think I've recorded. So we're in almost 300 hours of recording in the last 8 months. The difference is unbelievable, that I can hear in myself and things like that. And you just get more and more practice and you get better at it. And
man,
it's
I've heard you speak. I've heard your TED talk, and
that was
so have other
amateur hour
people.
compared to now, although it's like,
Buddy, I'm telling you, if anybody's listening right now and they haven't listened to your TED talk, go listen to it. You did a great job. I mean, you did, and I would say keep doing what you're doing right now because it's going to happen for you. That's I just run my mouth. I tell stories. I tell the truth, factual truth, and people love it and they want more of it. It sounds like a cadence. But just keep doing what you're doing, and you're going to get called on. And then also, you said that you weren't religious, you're more spiritual. That's great. Say a little prayer, a little gratitude prayer to the spirituality, to whatever's, giving you this positivity. And I'm telling you, it's going to keep rolling into more and more. So, uh, yeah, I mean, what you're doing is great, and you're gonna get some keynotes. I'm telling you.
I hope so. And it's all strange. Realizing that you have influence or that people are listening to you, and
Yeah.
now I got to be careful in what I say. Like, oh, I maybe I shouldn't make fun of the 80 seconds so much. And then somebody will message me from fifth group, and I'll go, I need to make fun of fifth group more now. Like, I need to ramp that up because fifth group's listening to me. Um,
Yeah.
you said
Yeah.
you felt yourself changing and not and becoming a worse version of you. Was that just a built up cumulative stress of everything that was happening to you? Because the job wears on you, and so does being on a team, and the stress and the training cycle and the deployments and the home time and all this other stuff. It adds up, whether we like to admit it or not. And everybody that you were aware that was happening. Was that afterwards you were aware, or looking back on it, or while it was happening you were aware?
Just changing for the negative.
Yeah.
It was while it was happening, man. I yeah, I started to just get my shit don't stink. And I knew that was wrong. I started to kind of alienate some of my buddies that I went through the Q course with. Uh, I will say that I was in a toxic relationship, and granted, out of that relationship, I have two amazing boys, but that toxicity just consumed me. One, because at that time I thought, oh, here's my Scottsdale wife, this gorgeous lady. Um, and we just didn't jive from the get-go, but we stuck together, had kids, got married, and it just didn't work, and shit just snowballed and continued to snowball, so much so that it snowballed into my career. And yeah, and I wasn't taking shit seriously. I wasn't thankful for anything. And once that parachute accident happened, is when I realized that, I mean, because I was pissing dudes off on my team too, just being a like just a twat, man, just lazy, and really taking advantage of the junior Echo, and making him do stuff and that he didn't need to do. Why couldn't I have done that? I can do that shit. Kind of coming into the office when, just whenever, which was horrible. Treating the new team leader like shit, who I've since apologized to. Um, so that relationship at home really consumed me, and I let it kind of start ruining my career. And when I had that near fatal free fall accident is when a light bulb came on, and I was like, I'm losing everything. I've lost a son, I've lost a father, I am now losing a family, and I'm going to lose a career, and I need to fix this, because where the fuck am I going to be if I've lost all that? And so, you know, I went to the RSC, the sergeant major at the time, Lou Palka, I can say his name. He's out, retired. He saw in me that I was, I'd be a good little intel nerd. And I did that. And, I started just making the best of it, and really started to enjoy it, actually. Uh, so yeah, that's when it's after all that shit happened, I just let it consume me, and became very unprofessional. And, I was quiet for the most part, but it was loud, and people saw it. But I've since, like I said, I've made amends and apologized to some folks for pissing them off and treating them the way that I did. But that also added to me being just a very mediocre Green Beret at the time. Like, I was nothing that a regular Army guy should look at and look up to, at that time. Like, if anybody joined the Army or Green Berets because of me, hopefully it was after I was a douchebag or before. Um, so, but it happened, man. It happened, and it was hard. And that divorce was probably the hardest thing that I had ever gone through, in my life. It destroyed me. Uh, and I can't tell you why, because the guy she's with now jumped on a grenade, man. I'm not trying to talk shit, but they're great together and we weren't. And, and, it just, I didn't see it for that at the time. And, but now, I've, been married for 9 years, almost 10 years to Emily, and it's phenomenal, and has been. ever since we met. And I think that that stuff happens for a reason. You don't believe in, you know, you're not sure if you believe in religion or all that, but I do believe that God handed me Emily to really save my life. Uh, and not like I was going to off myself, but at least just to put it on a path of goodness and wholesome goodness. And she course corrected me, uh, once we started dating and got married. Uh, then I really just started diving into being a better human, taking care of her, wanting to take care of my boys now that I don't live with them or they don't live with me. Um, yeah. And, yeah, and so ever since then, life has just been going steadily uphill from there in a good way. It's had a couple dips, but not because of relationships or anything like that, just because of life happen.
Were you self-medicating during that time when you were kind of being gruff with everybody?
No, I wasn't. But when I finally said, "Hey, I need to go see a shrink," I went to the army shrink, and they just wanted to stick me on like ADHD medication and stuff like that. I did see a counselor and spoke about what I had, essentially what I just told you. And the answer that I got was really, yeah, man, that seems about normal for special operations guys. You just got to get through it, work through it. Um, I will tell you that the military failed me in that, there was things that happened in a relationship when I went to the JAG and said, "Hey, this dude's in the military too, but we're married and they're doing blah, blah, blah." It was like, don't worry about it, man. It would be such a pain in the ass to even, navigate. And that destroyed me, you know? Uh, so I just felt pretty defeated by everybody, who I thought was on my side or that would have my back. Uh, so medication, I wasn't self-medicating. Um, so I don't know what I would have done had I been self-medicated. I was drinking, which is obviously the wrong thing to do. I wasn't drinking a lot. I'm not a drinker, but I would drink on the weekends
Yeah.
and then I'd go out and try and self-medicate with other women, so to speak, which was horrible, which was fun at the time, sure, but when you look back on it, it's no good, when you're going through what you're going through and you think that you're going to try and save something that isn't worth saving or can be saved. Um, by adding other people into the mix. It was just stupid. So it took essentially just cease and desisting for the most part, everything that I was doing and not wanting a relationship, not wanting to be in a negative mindset, uh, and really just sitting down and telling myself, you are going to be a giant fucking loser if you do not fix yourself. And what it's about Green Berets, we're pretty egocentric, and I do not want to be a giant fucking loser. Um, and so, yeah, it's what I did was to sit down and just kind of map out what I wanted to do with my life, build a business. I'm helping people with supplements, other people's products. I was selling, other brands and stuff. And then that morphed into Alpha Elite Performance and growing that. Positivity started to happen in my life. Emily went walking across the sidewalk. I saw her cute little booty walking. I was like, I got to go meet that girl. I wooed her in with some protein bars. I think I actually just made a post about that on our anniversary post. Yeah. Uh, but yeah, I wooed her in with some protein bars and, um, man, life just started getting better, dude. It really did. And I've just tried to remain positive. And I can see it now on the times that I'm not positive. I can see it in my wife's face. I really can. Um, she tells me non-verbally, you need to get your shit together. If there's any type of dip in attitude or negativity, like, oh, why didn't we hit that marker, that goal of this many sales this month, and it's just like, we can talk about it, but, you know, get that positivity back up, dude. And same with her too. Like we kind of feed off each other that way. But yeah.
Uh,
So
um, while you were talking there, do you know Kevin Pip, 10th group guy, English dude?
know the name. I'm horrible with names and faces now.
That's all
Granted,
right.
I spent 8
I
weeks
mean,
at the
I don't know
Brain
how you're.
Treatment Center.
I just wrote down here that you're pretty excellent with names because I don't know anybody's name really. I mean, people ask me names, and you're listing off people's names, and I go, man, I don't even know that many names, period, unless I got them written down.
Oh,
So, but
yeah.
anyway, I was talking with him the other day. He's out at Kruger. He's a Kruger National Park. He's a private ranger out there, and living the dream. And he brought up moral injury. Moral
Yeah.
injury when you're going
Mhm.
through it is just as painful as actual injury. So what you're describing is like these things like you go sit down with the JAG officer, and that you're like, that's not morally right. Like when I got my retirement award from the army, I got my R3con, I threw it in the trash. I was very hurt by that. I was like, you motherfuckers, even though it didn't mean anything to anyone but
Yeah.
me, but it still meant something to me. And I took it personally. Still do. Like, what the you sent me something to throw in the trash. Fuck you guys. Like, why would you give that? Every RCOM I got in the military was for winning a board. I got fucking 6 of them. Like, what you
Yeah.
gave me that for being in special forces? Fuck you. That really hurt. And some of those other things, they really hurt. And if you hear them from the outside, you're like, yeah, whatever. And you go to people and they're like, yeah, that's just how it is. No, man, that ain't just how it is. I'm going through this. This ain't just how it is. It's obviously affecting me. Listen to what I'm telling you. And
Yeah.
if people don't listen to you, then that can hurt as well. And that builds up and that adds on to the other stuff. And it's a good thing you weren't heavily drinking like I was. Like, I was well on my way, and I don't drink
Yeah.
anymore at all. But
Yeah.
like, what year did you have your accident in?
I was 2010.
So you're lucky you didn't get hooked on fucking addictive painkillers as well.
That man, all that stuff. I've thrown buckets of that stuff away because I've had 13 surgeries after that, and that's just what they want to give you is a lot of the Percocets and all that stuff. Yeah, I just don't like them. Like they just make me feel like shit. You know what I mean? So I don't have whatever people have in their body to get addicted to that. I don't have that, and I'm glad that I don't. And I hate it that people do because I know people that feed off that stuff. Um, So yeah, I was just a big Motrin Tylenol guy for the most part. Hyper ice, Normatec legs, ice baths, heat, stuff like that, natural regenerative medicine. And it's why I got into, stem cells as well. Because stem cells heal. And so I had an introduction to stem cells and started paying for those out of pocket. But yeah,
Well,
pills are insane.
we're jump around a little bit, but I've been getting better at jumping around and getting back to where I want to be with talking to people. You just brought that up, what the fuck are stem cells and why are they so important?
Stem cells. We all have cells in our body, right? And so you got 200 cells in the body, and there's, they stem cells, what I deal with are ethically harvested, FDA, IND, cord blood, umbilical cord blood stem cells. These guys have not had the opportunity to do anything. Think about it as a brand new Green Beret, and he just showed up to group your body, and he is standing at the door, and he wants to get to work. And Sergeant Major's like, you go find work. So that stem cell, that little new Green Beret, is going to go throughout group, and he's going to find work to do. And that's what these stem cells will do. They'll go towards the inflammation, the irritation of the body to help heal it. And so, um, when I was introduced to stem cells, it was really just mesenchymal cells. It was my own mesenchymal cells from adipose tissue. So we did a little liposuction, take that out, took out the fat, all that, and then you harvest it, get the mesenchymal cells. But those cells have been in my body. They're old. They're my age at that time. And so it's sometimes it's hit or miss on what they can do. At that time, I was using it for brain health. We mix it with mannitol to break the brain barrier. I had that head injury, that TBI, and had already gone 8 weeks at the brain treatment center in San Diego, and just wanted to get my brain back to working right. And so we just injected those via IV for, brain health. But I've also used them for direct injection into the outsides of my knee to retain the cartilage or help regrow the cartilage that's there. So whatever cell you've got in your body, skin cells, you name it, these unadulterated, ethically harvested cord blood, umbilical cord blood stem cells are going to want to get into and get to work. They just got the priorities of work that they need to do, and they'll do it. So yeah, I've injected my ankle after ankle reconstruction, and I'm telling you, I have no issues with that ankle, and they did some work on that bad boy. I've had disc replacement in my back. I've only done a little bit of injection into my back, but that was really more for pain. And I don't really have too much pain in my back, but having replaced the discs, and then shoulder, uh, this right shoulder here, I would say this is the only spot that they haven't really done what I was hoping that they would do, just probably because I've had a number of surgeries. And this is where this side of my body took the fall, the parachute crash. So a lot of work on this arm. But yeah, that's what stem cells are, man. And you know, I've always so my wife and I, Emily, we did for a short time. We treated 24 guys. We took them out to the Bahamas, raised some money, and took 24 dudes out, special operations guys out to the Bahamas to do exactly what I did with mesenchymal cells. Chris Van Zant, great guy, retired dude, CAG guy. He had bad plantar fasciitis, and we ended up fixing his feet. And to this day, I just talked to him the other day. He's like, "Bro, I love me some stem cells now." But we did a number of things for some dudes, for stem cells and health, regenerative health. But that nonprofit dissolved. Hurricane hit Okeanos, the place we were using, the Bahamas, and destroyed that place. So, but now I'm back into it with Project R3con, and and then I'm also I work for CalBio as well. So 1099 out there doing some good stuff.
Yeah, I've got that. What do you mean by ethically harvested stem cells?
Way back in the day, they would, people would say that they'd get stem cells from aborted fetuses and things like that. And that's not the case. It's umbilical cords, it's placental sacs that are donated or purchased from the hospitals. And there's no part of the fetus involved in stem cells, but the crazies out there will tell you otherwise. And they have no idea what the hell they're talking about. So you say ethically harvested because it's from the umbilical cord and the placental sac, is where these are coming from. So, and they're purchased or donated by, the mom after birth. Yeah.
Okay. And then it
So,
goes
yeah.
through. So there's, okay, we have the placenta or the umbilical cord, and then we have a science. And then it comes out with that little jar that you made a reel of the other day with the vial with
Yeah.
the
That's
with the
just,
red. So all that
yeah,
science in
that's,
the middle that I'm not going to understand. There's a
yeah.
step in there, and then you get that. And
Yeah.
that's the stuff that you inject?
Yep. Yep. That was about 2 mLs of cord blood stem cells. Yep. And I can tell, I use it for brain health, and I'm telling you, within an hour, just 2 mLs. And I started this program at the Green Beret Foundation when I was there, of, treating TBIs, guys who've experienced moderate to severe TBIs. The Green Beret Foundation will pay for the protocol at CalBio, for these guys to sit down, get an IV, 2 mLs, 2 weeks off, another 2 mLs, 2 weeks off, another 2 mLs, if they can get out to California. But it's totally worth it if you can get it done, because I'm telling you, that first 2 mLs that you feel, they go straight to the brain. My wife and I, we both did it at the same time one time, and we had to go back to the hotel and just lay there and let these guys get to work. And they replicate over time. So you're not just putting in 2 mLs and, millions of stem cells. They're getting to work, and they're replicating. And what they do for the brain is to help, fill in a lot of those, like if you're working out and you're tearing those muscles, and when you're eating protein and stuff, and it starts to fill in and get tighter and tighter. So you got those micro lesions on the brain. And so the stem cells are going to the brain and to help heal those micro lesions on the brain, which are caused by overpressure, blast injuries, head injuries that I had, head injuries that a lot of us have had, a lot of that overpressure stuff. I was just talking to Evan Hafer from Black Rifle Coffee, and he's like, "Bro, let's build a package, call it the overpressure and blast package." And I'm like, "That's exactly what I'm doing. I just never named it, man." Because he's all about it as well. But that is a mission of mine right now. I've got Alpha Elite Performance, which my wife runs, but my mission right now is, because I know that what a lot of guys are going through can be healed with stem cells. A lot of dudes are doing a lot of the psychedelics and things like that. And I'm not talking shit on that, because I recently just tried the God molecule myself just to experience it. But yeah, the stem cells are healing, man. And everybody that I have sent to CalBio or to get stem cells for brain health, will tell you that clarity, it just opens up, and it opens up quick, because these stem cells are in there and they're getting to work. So I call it a solution, man. I'm not trying to sell anybody anything other than a solution to better health, better regenerative health, brain health. People are focusing now. One Green Beret that we sent, he's got a pretty hectic job, and he was just like, I'm just all over the place. I don't want to take pills, none of this stuff. But he had a head injury, a blast injury, and I know exactly what blast he endured. Um, but he's back on the course to better brain health and healing. So and then over time, and there's MRIs of brains before and after, which you can see at Project Recon, on Instagram, Project Recon, and Recon is spelled with a 3, R3con, because it's regenerate, integrate. Anyway, uh, you can see the before and after of the brains, and what happens after, before and after with stem cells. So they're phenomenal, man. Florida just passed a law that you can go to Florida and you can get stem cells there. But I'm telling you, our company is the only company with an FDA IND. We're regulated by the FDA. People are like, oh, you're regulated by the government. But safety is our number one priority. And there are some nasty, nasty stem cells out there. Watered down shit that looks like apple juice, like horrible stuff. And then people using Wharton's jelly and a whole bunch of other stuff, type of stem cells, which aren't going to do jack and shit other than line the pockets of the person you're giving the money to. So my thing is, I want our guys to have the best, the absolute best stem cells possible. And that's exactly what we give them at CalBio or through Project Recon.
Thank you for that. That it gives me something to think about. So, because, whatever you're doing, I have faith in you and Anna, and I just do. Like, my assessment of you guys, I have faith in whatever you're doing. So more, if you say something, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to take that as correct, because I don't have enough time or the bandwidth or
Sure.
even the ability to comprehend what's going on and then continue what I'm doing. Right. So I'm like, I trust those people. And I feel like, especially with what you were doing at Green Beret Foundation and with your own stuff, that a lot of other people are buying you in these things. Like, oh, if Travis signs off on this, then it's probably going to help me, right? But the stuff you're describing there, I'm like, man, we talked about like just a salesman, right? In sales. I've talked on here about now that I'm eating right, sleeping right, diet, exercise right, all this other shit, right? There's something there in like the fog and the distance of my thoughts, and like it didn't used to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started getting all these concussions year after year after year, and pretty regular basis, it
Mm-hmm.
developed, and now I feel like there's a limit to something, and I can't describe it. And like you're what you just described of like treatment, like, man, would that get rid of that thing that I can't describe, but I can't break through of it? And then, but immediately after I had that thought, I'm like, I don't deserve that. Like, I don't, that ain't like, and
Oh
I
Lord.
know, no, I can talk myself out of something like that, right? Because there's more benefits, because now whatever people want to listen to me, that's fine. And if I'm going to do that, I'm going to give advice in the correct way. I can talk myself out of that. But somebody that hasn't gotten with that voice in their head of like imposter syndrome, that it's real thing and it's not going to fucking go away. You got to control it. You got to not let it eat you alive. I guarantee you, everybody hearing that goes, that could help me, but somebody else can use that a lot more than I can. How are you dealing with that?
Man, I hear that all the time, and I'm telling you, nobody else is using that. Nobody is calling the foundation saying, "Hey, I heard about stem cells. Now they can help me." I had to go out and find people that I knew that were jacked up, moderate to severe TBI. Had to go out and find them. You know, uh, you are a perfect candidate, having the concussions that you've had, and you just got to get over it. I tell Green Berets or soft dudes or just veterans in general, these nonprofits are there for them. They raise the money that they have to spend for the veterans, for the active duty guys when they can. But nobody wants to ask. Give it to somebody else. They deserve it. I don't. They need it more than me. That is such bullshit. I don't know where it comes from. I'm telling you, millions of dollars are raised to help these guys and their families, and you have to ask for it. It makes the employees' jobs at the foundations easier as well, because now towards the end of the year, like, shit, we got to spend this money. Let's go find some people. Why aren't they coming to us? That's why we exist. We advertise it. So whatever complex that is, I wish people would get over. And some say, well, it's easier said than done. No, pick up the fucking phone or get online and get a hold of that nonprofit and say, here's me, here's what I is wrong, and can you help me? They're not going to go to the guy next door and say, hey, we're helping John Smith here because he's fucking retarded. You're retarded if you don't fucking ask. I get pissed about it because I've had this conversation thousands and thousands of times. Just ask. Just ask. It'll help you. And if it'll save your life, I mean, suicide is legit. I used to think, 22 a day, but having gotten into benevolent space and realizing how many people commit suicide, I think it's every 11 minutes or something like that. It's insane, whatever the stat was. And it just ask, you know? I mean, I've seen some amazing, you know, it just I've seen a lot of people's lives saved because of just asking. So, and if you know somebody and he won't ask, ask for him, you know? So, yeah, you just got to ask. You just got to ask. And it just fires me up when people don't ask. But um, you bring up Anna. Anna and I worked together at the Green Beret Foundation, and her time, she just felt like it was up at the Green Beret Foundation, and I took advantage of that. I founded projectrecon.org, and me and another gal named Raquel Apodaca, who is in the stem cell game as well at Cal Bio. And it just seemed like a fit that when Anna, said she was leaving the GBF, that I, said, hey, well, we've got a position I want you to apply for. And we'll go from there. I know her work ethic. Anna is insane when it comes to benevolent giving and taking care of not just the Green Berets that she was working for the GBF, but the spouses as well. She's got a love and a passion for spouses, because spouses, let's admit it, are far too often overlooked. I mean, they really are. So she did a lot of great things with the spouses at that foundation. But yeah, her her resume is impeccable, and I know her work ethic, and I just knew that she was going to be the perfect fit for being the CEO and president of projectrecon.org. And so that is her position now at the foundation, and she's already crushing it. She's doing great things. Um, and with guidance, and I'm a founder and the chairman of the board. With guidance, I think that it's gonna explode. It's gonna be great. And the big key to that is helping, but we have a solution. There's a lot of these organizations have all sorts of things that they can do, and talk therapy and all that. Let's take that talk therapy guy who's got that TBI, moderate to severe, and let's now give him stem cells and continue that talk therapy with wherever you're at. But we have what I call a solution, because I've seen what stem cells can do. And so, with Anna at the helm of running the organization, you know, it's going to be great. She's a very smart woman, very smart woman. So, but yeah.
No, I love it. And you're partnering up with, again, shameless plug on my sponsor, my only sponsor is Dr. Taylor Bosley at Precision Wellness Group. I'll do anything for that guy. He supports my show, and he believes in me all the time. And as I said, I don't believe in me like half the time. So he believes in me. So you guys are working with him, and I just love it so much. Whatever I can do to help, like even this, like
Yeah.
we're going to make this into clips and hopefully get you guys some views and other
Yeah.
people's eyes and stuff like that. And whatever I can do to help, that's what this is all about, right? Because no matter how well known you are or I am, there's millions of people that don't know what you're doing, and they're
Yeah.
these are veterans, right? That don't know what you're doing, and they know
Yeah.
somebody that knows somebody else. So it's just so hard. As I said in the message last night or the night before, it's hard to promote positivity and uplifting on social media. That's just not
Yeah.
geared for it. You will get more views leading your content reel with an actual murder, and then going
Mhm.
into what you want to say. People will watch that more than something positive and uplifting and trying to brighten people's days. If you say it the right way, but it takes a lot of practice of getting to hooking people and getting that audience. And Instagram just for whatever. They might not want to show it to people that day. They got something more interesting going on, and you don't know and can't see those things. But
Yeah.
yeah, however I can.
Yeah.
And Taylor, with what you said, right now, let's get to the root cause of the problems. So, I've said, you got a drinking problem, TBIs, and problems at home. That in group right there. Almost everybody in groups got those, right? And that's
Yeah.
like your cocktail of death. And he goes, yeah, but we could just take it, like take the TBIs down one. All three of those problems could be caused by problems in your head, like a medical issue. So if we don't get your testosterone fixed or we don't get your hormones in the right whack, it could cause all of those. And I went, okay, so we've gone down from this to the root cause. So, okay, so let's get a doctor who is
Yeah.
who took the time to learn what he's talking about, because a normal doctor, and nothing against them, out of medical school has to go take extra courses to learn all of this hormone shit. They don't teach that stuff to you. They teach you 300 to 1100 is the standard range for male testosterone, and women is somewhere between 100 and 300. I don't know that one exactly, but the other one's 300 to 1100. And I mean, you at any point between that 300 and 1100, you can feel like shit in there if you're not at the correct levels. And the VA just goes, you're fine. You're at 301, your normal levels. Well, man, I feel like shit. Well, that's how it is. You're within normal levels for a male your age. Am I? Am I really? So now we get that fixed. You have a doctor that's taken the time to go learn what this stuff means, how to effectively apply it to personnel who need it. And then you get in and we got stem cells. And then you learn how to do that. So, man, there's just so much that goes into it from, hey, I'm listening to my family practitioner or whatever it's called, to
Yeah.
now I get a doctor who not only is a Green Beret, but has taken the time to learn all this shit and apply it to the people who need it. I think
Yeah.
that's even like
Yeah.
better, because now you're getting all of these people that really care and taking the time to put that into application. I think it's fucking great.
hmm I'm really excited to work with Dr. Bosley. I was just out there at Precision Wellness in Southern Pines. So just like you, I support him. I tell, our special operations guys or anybody in general that's in Southern Pines that wants hormone therapy, guy or woman, go see him in Southern Pines. Super excited to work with him. It hasn't been finalized yet, but he is one facility that I want to work with Project R3con. So projectrecon.org, if you want to go check it out, will provide stem cell therapy for moderate to severe TBI for mental health, but he can be the hub of that region, where the people will be much closer, as opposed to sending them all the way to California where HQ is for stem cells for the treatment. I want those little offices across the nation that want to, participate with Project R3con, so that is where these soft guys will go for that stem cell therapy, for that protocol that is already written up, for the mental health. But in essence, that also will help with growing his business as well, because now he can talk to them about hormone therapy, not just stem cell therapy, but hormone therapy, and how they can course correct that stuff as well. But he's great. So if you've got hormone issues, man, go see Dr. Bosley. Beautiful location. They're growing rapidly. Great family. Him and his wife, Jill. Good people. So I'm glad that they're supporting you as well.
Yeah, I just pitched up. I was like, hey, man, I'm here. I went out for a funeral. I was like, hey, I'm coming to visit. He's like, yeah, you can stay at the house. Come on. And I was like, I need an office. He's like, yeah, here, take mine and use this. And I was like, so I went down there and worked, and then we got off and hung out the rest of the day and just
Yeah.
bullshit and stuff. It's great. They're
And
great.
he's an 18 Delta, as everybody knows. I don't know if anybody knows, but he's an 18 Delta. Was an 18 Delta.
Yeah, an actual doctor that can prescribe
and
you
now
actual
an actual
medicine.
doctor.
And now an actual
That's
doctor. Yeah. No, he's great. So Fort Bragg's the center of the universe, right? There's got to be the most people that would be candidates for what you're trying to do there. Um, are you targeting other locations in order of priority, or is it just kind of whatever comes up and who's willing to work with you?
Yeah, no. So as far as the locations to help
Yeah.
with Project R3con, I mean, for now, if if we got to get people out to California, then we got to do that. Or if they can get themselves there, and then we'll provide the stem cells, because it's still not cheap. I mean, it's still, even at the veteran price that we give this almost cost, it's still pretty expensive. Um, but it's doable. It's very easy to do. But yeah, we're, like, he would be great for that, that southeastern region. I would like some central, mountain and West Coast type places as well. Maybe somebody up in the Northeast to come on in to, get a hold of me, and we can talk about, stem cells. If you're a provider, get a hold of me, and we can talk about how we will get our stem cells within your organization. I've just worked with a doctor here in Montgomery, Texas, who's going to be bringing stem cells into his location. So, he could be a provider for Project Recon for, it'll be a list of places that these guys can go if they reach out and they qualify for stem cells. Well, here's the map of the locations that we can send you, and go from there. And they'll go there, and the stem cells will be shipped. They're overnighted because they have to be. And then they'll start getting their treatment. So, but yeah, I'd like for it to just go across the nation, a number of places, to treat these guys and gals as well, because there's still gals in special operations as well. So,
What's your, I don't want to say like plan of attack with, so you want to make this known. You guys are a nonprofit, but you want to
yep,
make it known to all of the veteran soft nonprofits that, hey, we're offering this. This is we want to, like a hub and a spoke sort of thing. You guys
yeah.
are the only FDA approved treatment for this, but hey, we've got this. Look at us. Look here. This is where you want to come for this. So it's all this trickle down effect of getting guys funneled into the program.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, we're going to be provided the stem cells as well, but these other nonprofits can pay for it as well if they choose to. Uh, I hope that they all do, because it is healing. And like I said, it is a solution. And I know that most of the soft nonprofits out there have money to spend on mental health and wellness and well-being. And if they've got anybody from a moderate to severe TBI that qualifies, I implore them. It's not making hardly any money for us or for CalBio, because this is a service that we want to offer them as far as healing is concerned. Raquel and myself are both veterans. So that's why we started this. We have the for-profit, which is, that's CalBio, and we, that's where we do that sort of thing. As far as selling stem cells to doctors for whatever they use it for, with direct injection and stuff. But as far as projectrecon.org is concerned, this is like damn near a gift of trying to just help these guys heal, because stem cells heal. I will, go to my deathbed saying stem cells heal. So, and I'm trying to tell the VA that as well. I was this close to talking to the Secretary of Defense. I'm going to talk to the number 2 that's over there, who's a doctor himself, actually. I've got my good boy Pete on Pete Hegseth on speed dial. We used to text before he became the Secretary of Defense, but which I heard today, I think they might be changing it back to the War Department as opposed to the Secretary of Defense.
Is that a good sign or a bad sign?
I don't know. Why do we need to always be on the defense? Can we just be the War Department? It sounded cool in movies. When Colonel Robert Shaw, 54th Massachusetts in the movie Glory is like, this is from the War Department. It sounded cool, as opposed to here's from the Secretary of Defense. But I don't know. Anyway, I digress. Um,
Man,
but yeah,
you're plugged in.
I am passionate about stem cells and obviously business and supplements. I love them. Hormonal therapy. I love that. I self-medicate with that too, just because I'm, taught myself how to do it. Yeah, but stem cells, man, I'm so much so that I've already reached out to Ukraine. I'm trying to talk to their Ministry of Defense and talk about the mad amounts of TBIs that they're dealing with, and how we can implement, stem cells in our protocol. They've got stem cells over there, but I can assure you they aren't as good as what we have. And they know that. And a lot of countries know that. They get excited to talk about stem cells from the United States. So
We've got a lot of good things here. We're the best at a lot of things. We're the worst at a lot of things, but hey, that comes with the territory. Um,
yeah,
God,
yeah.
man, you're so fucking busy. And I've said this on the show many times. Like, I love having people on that make me just want to do more. I'm sitting over here like, God damn it, Nick, you're just sitting in your chair here, not doing anything. Oh no, we're
Well,
recording.
Nick,
We're recording here. Calm down, Nick. You can't get up and go save the world unless you make this content. You sit here and talk to the
I mean, just what I said earlier, keep doing what you're doing. People see it, I see it. If you don't think that, in my mind, I have thought, how can I get like $100,000 right now to hire Nick and make him the media guy for projectrecon.org? That would be fucking phenomenal, Um, Trust me, people see you, they hear you, you are growing quickly. Um, and I'm proud of you, man. I really am. I really am. I was
hey,
proud of you for putting on a golf event. I thought that was amazing. You did a great job. And here you are doing this and helping people through whatever. And check this out. You are a podcaster now, but podcasts and conversations and laughter and stories, it heals people. So look at yourself as a guy who is also helping people, because you'll hear other people talk about, well, I listened to this podcast and I didn't know that. And that really helped me in my life. Or, man, that story really resonated, and it just took me back out of a dark place that I thought I was headed. But now, so, you know, just look at it that way too, dude. You're doing good. You're doing good shit.
yeah, we're not on a team, but it's like a team effort of the people you
Yeah,
associate
sure.
with. Um,
Yeah.
uh, Everybody that's come on here and talks, like, we all get more out of doing things for other people. Like, for me to have this show, it is so much easier to talk about my guests than it is to talk
Yeah.
about myself. After we record today, I've got an interview on another show, somebody else's show tonight, and it's going to be about me. And I'm prepping myself. I'm like, God damn it, Nick, you're going to open up this time. You're going to relax and just tell your story, because people keep
Yeah.
asking you to tell it. And the more you tell it, you're going to get better at it. Just don't
Yeah.
say anything that's ridiculous. Like, don't make anything up. And then, I'm giving myself this pep talk. Like, don't, don't get yourself on anti-hero podcast and everything will be just fine.
Right.
You don't want to do that, but it's a team effort and we all get better together. And, a lot of this is with the ups and downs. Like, we spoke on the phone not that long ago and, about after, Sergeant Major Miller passed away. And, you're
Yeah.
like, we're not going to stop veteran suicide. We can slow it down. We're not going to stop it. Like,
Yeah.
I just learned a term the other day that is fucking horrifying, that from Memorial Day to Labor Day is suicide season. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah.
And
No.
I was like, I wish I didn't know that. I wish that they hadn't told me that that's a thing. And then they started, my buddy telling me the numbers that, uh, from those days to those days. I'm like, we're already at this for the year. And this was 2 months ago. I'm like, you got to
Yeah.
be fucking kidding me. Why isn't this? Why are we so fucking afraid to tell people this? Because I am plugged in, you're plugged in, and it's way worse than what we know, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we're looking for the information. And so, okay, it's not getting out there. So what responsibility falls onto us to tell people? But then you go, oh man, it's so icky to talk about. Well, it's not a fucking cold. They're not going to catch a cold from us talking about this shit. These, if I don't know and you don't know the whole story, then fuck the people that really aren't, that would like to probably know that this is that bad, and it might increase awareness. And it is depressing. It
Yeah.
sucks. But
Yeah.
how do you make content about this sensitive subject and not feel bad about it, right? And still get the information to the guys and be like, because this is a tough one here. My buddy killed himself July 6th of 2023, right? And going through all of that terrible fucking, and I was drinking at the time and it got way worse and now I don't drink. Terrible. And going through that and seeing the funeral, and then this recent one, going to the funeral and seeing the family and seeing these things, going and seeing the effect with my eyes. Like, I'm not going to let that happen to me, right? but I force myself to go see those things and go through it. And like, this fucking sucks. I don't want to wish this on anybody else. And as much as we don't like it or we don't want to talk about it, we're keeping it hidden, the real truth of what goes on, what happens to everybody, because we all internalize our pain and we close ourselves off from our friends, and we don't realize that everybody's going through the same shit as well. And when you're segregated, you're more likely to just check out, right? And
Yeah.
it's one of these, right? Like, I mean, how do we do that? How do you do it where you don't sound like you're fucking trying to profit off of somebody else's suffering, where you're trying to help? That's the one I'm struggling with right now. He's like,
Mhm.
man, I know going through those things have helped me deal with intrusive thoughts, or, think in a more positive way, or however the fuck you want to word it, right? How do we, one, get over ourselves and say, this is something we need to talk about, and two, make it authentic, and not to fucking get people to actually help people. That's the one I struggle with right now, right? And I don't know. But
You know, suicide is insane. It's a conversation that we have had since I joined the Army. And I mean, Friday before, safety briefings and stuff is like, hey, if you're feeling bad, call a buddy. There's always been a conversation about suicide, man. And so I've become really numb to it. And I go into it now thinking and knowing, well, one, every 11 minutes, somebody's committing suicide in the United States, every 11 minutes. And the percentage, girl to guys, is that guys are really, they're the ones who do it. They're the ones who are like, I'm doing it, boom, done. And I've gotten to the point now where we're trying to help as many people as we can. As far as talking about, you don't want people to think that you're profiting off of trying to help other people. Well, people have to get paid for their work. Now, if you're making, god awful amounts of money, that's one thing, but people have to get paid for their work, and it's good work. It's meaningful work. It's life-saving work. But I'm to the point now where I am stepping over the bodies to get to the next one. I tried my damnedest to help this guy, and it didn't work, and I step over the body to get the next guy. It's kind of like when you're entering a room, man, CQB, guy goes down, you got to step over that body to get, to the enemy that's you're engaging. So, and then you can come back, but there's no coming back to the guy that's just committed suicide. So we got to move forward, and we got to, get to the next guy before he does what he's going to do, or she does what she's going to do. Because I'll tell you, soft guys, when they determine that they're going to do it, they're going to do it. So they're a little different than most. But that comes back to asking for help. All these guys have been told their entire career. Sergeant majors are the ones who come out and say, hey, if you've got a problem, ask for help. We're here to help you. There's no reason why you should do this. Pick up a phone, call somebody. But what happens in that mind to where that guy or gal who's been preaching, don't commit suicide, pick up a phone, call, ask for help, go see the doc? What happens? You know, where do we need, how far back do we need to go into active duty service to help these guys, to where what happens in the future doesn't? The answer has been, I mean, we've been working on this for a long time. Everybody has. We're not raising awareness anymore for suicide because it happens. When people say, yeah, we started a nonprofit to raise awareness, you're not raising awareness for shit, dude. Suicide is going to happen, especially in our community. And so, and it sucks. It hurts. It's painful. But I'm now numb to it, and I'm stepping over the bodies to get to the next one. And I'm hoping that through Project R3con and stem cell therapy, I know what it has done for me, and how it helps heal the mind and heals those micro lesions that happen on the brain. Neuroplasticity increases, like all sorts of great things happen with stem cells on the brain. And there's a bunch of other modalities out there too that help. But this is just one that I believe in and I want to do to help guys. But also with that comes that conversation with somebody. Yeah, you're going to get some stem cells, but now you and I are engaged and we're buddies, man. And I want to take care of you. Call me, or let's connect, so hopefully, this is going to grow into brain health and healing and into galas and things like that. And good, feel good stories and stuff like that. But, this podcast that you're doing, dude, I'm sure, I guarantee you, with the 300 plus hours that you've already done, there is somebody who is in a dark place, and they're not going to come out and tell you, but I guarantee you somebody didn't commit suicide because of something you said or one of your, uh, guests have said on your podcast. I guarantee it. So, it's you just got to keep doing what you're doing, and step over the bodies, dude. It's gonna happen. You're gonna have to step over it to get to the next guy. You just got to keep moving forward.
Yeah,
It's a harsh way to look at it.
people only listen when you talk, but they don't like a cook at first group, right? He said, people don't read fucking signs. You could have a sign right there on the mashed potatoes says use the spoon, and the fucking guy will take his hand and scoop the mashed potatoes. He had to move the sign to scoop the mashed potatoes. People don't read stuff and they don't listen. But we learned like 99% of everything we know by watching somebody else. As a baby, you're watching, you take everything in, you learn everything from watching other people. You're going around with your dad or your mom and you're watching what they do. When the kid's swearing, they're watching you interact with adults, and somebody says a swear word and they laugh, and then the kid goes and says a swear word. They're like, "Where'd you learn that?" "Well, I got from watching you, motherfucker. Where'd you learn that one?" So we watch by learning. So I, we, you know, it sucks when somebody goes away. You're like, man, am I not being enough? What can I do more? And then you're like, you got to do that. You got to be a better example, because there's people watching you, your friends, or people that don't like you. They're watching you too.
Hmm.
Other people are, and they're taking in what you're saying, and but more of, are you acting out on the things that you're going to say? Like, I if I'm going to say I'm one of the fittest, strongest Green Berets, I can fucking prove it, right? Retired Green Berets. I'm one of the fittest, strongest retired Green Berets there are. I can
Yeah.
fucking prove
Yeah.
that. Um,
Yeah.
so what do I do with that? That's the trade-off. I am in the gym 6 to 7 days a week. I'm not killing myself all 6 to 7 of those days a week. There's a program, and I train for that, but I can fucking prove that, right? Um,
Hmm.
People see that, and maybe they'll be inspired to go do the gym as well. If we're, as you said, we're saying it over and over again in these formations and stuff. I'll call somebody, uh, but then a sergeant major checks out, and we go, "Oh, fuck." Well, this guy that was
Yeah.
a rock for years checks out, and not just like, oh, a company sergeant major. No, like a fucking command sergeant major at 06 level, 07 level checks out, and you go, well, fuck, the whole system's fucked. I think this is just garbage here, because
They're not immune to mental health, man. They're not.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's who's checking on them? So that's why I always like to ask, how you doing, Nick? Like I've been on many a podcast, and when this conversation comes up, and I like to ask, well, how are you doing? You ask everybody else, how are you doing? And I'm seriously asking you right now, how are you doing?
I'm okay. I'm okay. I I want this to go so badly, to support itself and support me, and just keep doing this. Um, and it's other than the gym, like, the only thing I think about is my content and messaging people and being positive, and not letting the Instagram algorithm drag me into the negative. Like yesterday, like, I went through this. Usually I stay out of the comments, right? And somebody dropped a comment, and I went, let me click on this. And they were in uniform, and they had it in their profile. And I was like, that just upset me so much. But for generally, I'm good. It's, as I said, there's up and down all day long of doubt in yourself. And then I'm the best. And then who am I to tell people what to do? And okay, we can do this and other stuff. But I, I put it as, I'm not happy and I'm not sad. I'm pretty content with
Yeah.
what's going on. I would like to get to fulfilled, but I'm keeping my head down and trying to do as much as I can and outwork the outwork the fact that I don't know what I'm doing. But then I also realize nobody else fucking knows what they're doing either. Because they're messaging me and I'm messaging them. How you do this? I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't fucking know, man. My hair's on fire all the time. And
Yeah.
um I just go, I'm okay. I'm okay. I wish I could work out more. And I always wish I could work out more, but I know too
Yeah.
much about healing and stuff like that. But I'm good, man. I'm
Well, wake up every morning and say today is going to be a great day. Uh, like just start with the gratitude for self gratification, and then know that you can't do it all, dude. You can't do it all, you know. And then just keep plugging away at what you can do and do the best that you can. That's. I mean, and you're doing it. I see it. Everybody sees it. We've already said that. I'm not going to beat that horse anymore. I'm not going to fill your head up, Mister Ego.
as I said, people don't listen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's deflect with a compliment. It's like I am very appreciative of anybody that listens to my stuff and appreciates what I'm putting out, and I that's more forefront in my mind all the time because I said something the other day. I say, you're not you're not trying to be successful to prove people wrong. And if you are, you're looking at things the wrong way. You should try to be successful to prove the people right that believe in you all the time. The people that have supported you since the beginning, you want to prove those people right in their assessment of you, not some fucking loser in the comments that you want to prove wrong. The person doesn't give a shit about you. And if you prove the people right, they'll come around eventually and be like, "Oh, I always knew you had it." Like, okay, appreciate the support now. Thanks for coming around and go to the positive. But if you're
That's so
coming
true right there, what you just said. Yeah.
they will, and that's fine too, because then come around to a positive. But if you're coming at something from a positive direction, moving in a positive way, that's a lot more healthy than the negative hate, because that's what the Q course was, right? For me, was just anger and hate of like, I have to do this and all this. And that's what SF was too. Like, you were just using all of the things that have gone wrong in your life to gain this success and get this thing. And now, oh man, I don't want to be negative anymore. Fucking when I was drinking, it was all about me and what I want and what I want to do and how I feel. Like, fuck that, you fucking loser. Let's fucking do shit for other people again, just like you're doing. Like, you
Man,
see, go ahead.
let me give you and anybody listening some advice. There's no such thing as veteran loyalty. And I know that when we get into businesses, we like to say we're a veteran owned business. We say that. When we get into podcasts, we hope that every special forces, Green Beret, Navy SEAL, whatever, is going to listen to us. That's our community, right? But let me tell you, there is no veteran loyalty, especially when you're out. I mean, it's starting off Elite Performance. I thought, oh, I'm going to be so rich. All these veterans are going to buy from me. Fuck no. Most veterans go to this non-veteran owned company selling his product, which is fine. And then with support and helping people and asking like, hey, this is what I got going on. I've got this big Ruck March event. Why don't you guys come out, support it, throw some money its way. This is where the money's going to go. No, I get more support in everything that I do. I get more support from civilians who want to support veteran-owned businesses or veteran-owned nonprofits and benevolent organizations like that. So those are the people that we target. You talked about people come back around like, oh, you're doing great. I've seen that 1,000 times. I mean, I exaggerate that number, but guys who I thought would support me from the get-go, silence for years. And then out of nowhere, oh yeah, man, I've seen you really take off. You're doing really good. You're doing good things, man. I've always supported you. Really? Have you? I mean, some of them, yeah, they might have just been silent in their support, but a lot of them, nah, they didn't say jack and shit. And then I heard through the grapevine that, oh yeah, I used to talk shit about you, but now, it's going to happen. So, again, that's where we just focus on us as far as a company and doing the best for everybody, regardless if they're veterans, active duty, or civilians. And I take that into those nonprofits too. We support SOF veterans with Project R3con, but we have to target civilians who want to support veteran mental health as well, which there's so many of them out there that do, because a lot of guys missed the boat. They wanted to serve, but they can't, or they didn't, but they want to do their service one way, shape or form. They'll support a nonprofit or a business. So just know that every day when you get on here, be like, there's no veteran loyalty. But there's people that will support you. But that's not a bad thing. I don't say that to be dicks to the veterans who don't support you, because there's veteran things that I don't support, like they think that I should. And I'm like, I don't, it's not my vibe, man. Find what works for you. So, but that's just a mind thing. You have to get past it. Not saying that you're dealing with that, but if anybody's listening, get past thinking that the veterans have to support you because you're a veteran,
I
So,
I have when I talk to other, namely podcasters, I lead off with, "Hey, just to let you know, I go through and I like your stuff, and I'll share it occasionally. And if you send it to my stories, I'll share it to my stories. But I don't listen to your stuff. One, I don't want to sound like you, and two, I don't want your opinions to creep into my opinions, and then I start not
yeah.
being me." And they either know that already, or they're like, "I never thought of that." And I go, "Well, you can use that one, and you should, because you sound like you if you stay like that." So, as far there's some reasons for that thing, but they drop off severely. Yeah, the veterans. We're a tight knit, closed off bunch. We're like beads. We're not woven together. There's just beads on string, and they're all their own separate entity. And at any time, they can break off and fall apart far away. Um, Civilians are the fallout from a tragic event like a combat death or a training or a suicide affects civilians way more than it does veterans. Because you said you're numb to it. Like, one guy messaged me, he's like, "I've lost 38 friends since
Yeah.
outside of the war, since it started." Like, that's a lot.
Mm,
38 probably feels like just another day at the office compared to 31,
mm-hmm,
where
mm-hmm.
that happens a couple times on the civilian sector, or somebody dies of combat, or even extended family. um,
Yeah.
One of my questions, like, "Thank you for your service." That's not just people don't just throw civilians. That's a real question or a real statement for them. They really care. Like, "Thank you for your
Mm-hmm.
service." Like, I extend that to law enforcement, firefighters quite a bit more.
Sure.
They go through the shit
Yeah. Yeah.
all the time, but
Yeah.
that's
Absolutely.
honesty. And there's stressors and everything. So yeah, they just want to help. I just want to help. I just want to make people feel better about themselves. God, man, if this show could get to a point where I can give soft veterans that feel like they're a nobody a Joe Rogan experience, holy fuck, like, to make them feel like they're somebody, like somebody cares about them. Have a fucking time, like somebody cares about me. Um, and but as you said, like the veteran loyalty, like, I can't care about everybody. That's just too many people. I got my section of the market, and there's other people taking care of their section of the market. And I'll help everybody I can, but you can only do, as you said, you can only do so much. You can't fucking do everything, or you'll burn yourself
Mm-hmm.
out and collapse.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. For
wh-
sure.
where do you want
So,
Alpha Elite Performance to go from here? Like,
so the business side. So again, Emily runs that business. I know she's a little stressed about it. We've had some setbacks over the last couple of months, only because one of our makers just shit the bed with his own product, and it just destroyed the whole company. Um, but we found a new maker that's phenomenal. That's a little bit more strict though, as far as testing and all that. So it costs a little bit more, which I'm fine with because I love that our products are always safe for everybody. But where do I want it to go? Um, Obviously up. I'd love for it to be as big as some of the big companies out there. Um, we just don't have that budget for it right now. We're having fun selling products online. We've been doing it for 10 years and we're successful. We just had I was just on Carl Higbee's Newsmax show on Friday. We just had this massive bump over the weekend of 300 plus packages being sold. And that's just packages going out. So I don't even know how many products, because it's multiple products, which was great. But now she's stressed. She's like, "Oh my God, we got to do so much ordering. And will it be made in time to, will we have that, you know, hole in when it's out of stock?" And that always sucks, because now you you might lose a customer. Don't go buy somewhere else. But it's fun. Business is fun. I don't let it stress me out anymore because we've done well with it. We've been successful. We've had a lot of fun. Um, we're just going to keep going with it. She's going to run with it and have fun. My passion right now is, I'm essentially consulting over at Cal Bio as a chief strategy mission officer. And Raquel brought me in over there to help take that company to the next level, stem cell biologics company. I'm very honored that she entrusts me to do so. Um, we're just now just I haven't even scratched the surface at what I want to do with helping her with that business, but um, project managed a couple new websites, one of them being project recon.org, which is the nonprofit arm of what I'm doing at Cal Bio. And so there's that. And then we got Stem Cells Sports Institute of Southern California. That website's getting ready to drop. And then got one more website I'm helping to build out. But taking that internationally, and then also with a nonprofit with projectrecon.org and helping veterans. So I got a lot of things going on. Alpha Elite Performance is something that I'm going to advise on the side with Emily and take that in the direction she wants to take it. But I'm focused on stem cells and focused on stem cell and mental health for our veterans through projectrecon.org.
Where's Alpha Elite Outdoors fit into that now?
So Alpha Elite Outdoors, man, that's just a couple events that we do a year with our Cabo Sport fishing trip. So that's, it's a nonprofit that's money in, money out. We raise the money to take veterans, soften out veterans on an outdoor adventure down in Cabo, which they get to reel in big old marlins and stuff like that, billfish. I work with a guy named Toby Nunn out of Marvita down in Cabo. He's a veteran as well. And then, with small hunting stuff, I got a hunting trip coming up. We're taking a guy, a former ranger. He's going to go hunt an exotic animal out in West Texas. So yeah, AP Outdoors is still a nonprofit. I kind of, we don't push it a lot. I choose to push that locally and have a lot of the local people, donate to that. We do an event. It's called March for Our Military in the month of March here in Montgomery, Texas, where we'll go into Ruck March and we raise money that way. We partnered with Rudy's Barbecue, and every year they've been giving us well over $20,000+ for AP Outdoors to help with, funding these trips that we do. So, again, that's money in, money out. So it's easy work. It's fun. We have local community members that volunteer for that. So, again, that's just added to the list of stuff that I oversee or help do. So there's always something going on, man, with travel, business, 2 businesses, 2 nonprofits, supporting other nonprofits, speaking engagements, podcasts. But it's fun, man. It's fun going to see my kids play football. Shout out to my oldest, who got 17 combined tackles and assist tackles in his first home game this year, senior year. Dude's killing it. So any college coaches out there listening, Mason Wilson at Coronado Islanders, Coronado High School. No
Shameless,
plug.
shameless plug.
He's 17. I didn't believe him, but oof, man.
How does that feel now? Like I interviewing guys, right? I look back at like the ODA life of like, man, where I'm at now with my headspace and in life and my perspective and everything, man, I could run a team. I don't know if I had stayed there, how good I would be at doing that. I would know the job, but I wouldn't have what I have now. You ever think back about with where you are now and the physicality aside and all the other, but like from where you are in life and what you know and how you go about things of running a team now. You ever think about that?
Not really, but I do remember thinking at 21 years, I thought at that point, I could take a team. And I was offered an opportunity to go take a team in Germany, a free fall team, after getting hurt and all that stuff. But I just decided, 20 years, 21 years is enough. So I dropped my packet. Um, but no, I don't really think about it. I had a pretty damn good career, military career, which was mildly mediocre considering what a lot of other special operations guys have done. But I say a good career because, I got to do everything I wanted to do, and I had a lot of fun doing it. And I got paid to jump out of planes. I got paid to, attempt to become a scuba guy, which found out that I hate the fucking ocean. So, that team sergeant was like, "Hey, you did a good job. You kicked ass. You tried your ass off. I'm going to send you across the hall to the free fall team as a reward." And so, um, I just hated the ocean, dude, and I couldn't pass a 50-meter underwater swim. I couldn't. I tried my damnedest at elevation in Colorado. I definitely couldn't do it. And then at insane, I would go until I passed out. Um, but that's the mindset of the guy that I would want on a team right now is, you know, just quit until you pass out, or just keep going until you pass out. Uh, and actually, I did that in selection once. So no, Sergeant First Class Bitterman, 1999. I know he's around here somewhere, and somebody listening probably knows Sergeant First Class Bitterman, but that dude was mean as shit, and he would do one-arm pull-ups at night. He called me up on the podium. Back then we had this big podium and a bunch of huts where we slept. It was like Vietnam days, as far as how the selection went back then. He made me sing the national anthem. He said, "If you fuck this up, you're out." And thank God I knew the national anthem. But we were on team week. It was one of the last events, and I was dead. And I was leading, and you couldn't talk, and you couldn't look back, and guys are trying to cough, like, slow down. But he said, "You stay with me." And I had to go his speed, and I just, what were we do? We were carrying the missiles or something, like, the big logs and shit, and but forever. And it was hot, and he looked at me, and I think he said this, or maybe maybe I thought he did. It doesn't sound like something that Sergeant First Class Bitterman would do, but he leaned into my ear and he said, 500 meters, 500 meters. And I've never forgotten that. We got to the end and people just started pouring water on me. And, but I've used that 500 meter saying in everything that I do now. Like, if I think about quitting or giving up, just 500 meters, 500 meters, get to that 500-meter mark. And I still, to this day, I don't know if he really said that in my head. If I was so hot and dehydrated that I just thought that shit, I'm assuming he did. But he was just a mean son of a bitch. So it didn't sound like something he would have said, but that's what I got out of it.
Yeah. My CLT cadre, we were probably a quarter mile, half mile left back to the team house or wherever we were going. And I was quite obviously in heat stroke. And
Us big
white,
guys usually get to that.
it was white, throwing up, and cold. And he goes, "Just don't fall over, man." He just goes, "If you fall over, you're out." He's like, "Just don't fall over." And man, I fell into that team house, and I got 2 IVs and the ice jacket, and they brought me back to life. But I still suffer for that one, for pushing that one to the house. Yeah, I don't do well in the heat anymore. But yeah, it's the same thing. You can push your body, if your mind's right, but if your mind's not, you can't do shit. It's
Yeah.
fucking,
Yeah.
that's good, man.
Yeah.
With the it seems like you've, and I came to this realization as well. We're going to do so much cool shit in civilian clothes that, yeah, we did that time in the military, and that's over. Like, let's go put on a polo and do some really cool shit. And now you've got leeway to go, I want to go over here, I want to go over there, and I want to go do this thing and talk with these people, where when you're in uniform, you're stuck. Like, you're under contract. You got to be where they tell you to be. You don't get a lot of left and right limits. What we did, but still, it was still pretty restricted as well there. You got to go where they tell you to go. And now you can do whatever the fuck you want. And as long as you're doing the right way for the right reasons, then that's pretty good too. So it sounds like you're, at least, I mean, I got a lot of shit going on, so you're staying busy.
But just build those relationships, man. There's a lot of civilians out there that want to support you, and build those relationships. I mean, build all the relationships, win the hearts and minds, talk to the veterans, build those relationships. But it's those civilians, if you see that they have just a little spark of interest in you, feed on that, build that relationship with them, because that's what they want. They just are afraid to engage because you're this big badass Green Beret. and they feel like they have nothing in common, but they'll be shocked to find out that they have a lot in common with you outside of, being a Green Beret. They might have stories that will, align with what you did as a Green Beret, uh, a family member or whatnot, but feed off those and build those relationships, because those are the ones that are going to build your business. They really are. You can talk all day with a Green Beret. Yeah, we did this, that, and I knew this guy, you knew that guy, but you built a brotherhood, but that's not going to do anything for your business. It really doesn't. He might talk about, your business to people, but the ones that I have found in my business and my life that have really transformed things were those civilians. One of them being an NFL football coach, Cam Cameron. Great dude. Dude saw me coming, and he thought at first I was a Navy SEAL because we were in Coronado, California, but I told him I was a Green Beret. He's like, no offense to the Navy SEALs. Like, oh, one of those smart guys. I mean, granted, we have to have what, minimum 2 years college education. We're the only soft, organization that requires some sort of educational background and speak another language. But he was a civilian and an NFL football coach that I looked up to. But what he has done as far as building that relationship for my business, and I just saw him again, anytime I go to North Carolina, because he lives out there now, I go and see him and his wife. He's great. He has touched so many lives of special operations guys or veterans because of his love for what we do, the respect that he has for us, because he didn't have that opportunity to do so. So inquisitive about everything that we do. And now he's got a son that I helped. I think I helped. I mean, we talked about it before he went to West Point, but he's an Army officer now. Played football at West Point. Great kid, great family, great civilian guy who just said one thing to me, and that relationship took off, and I fed off of it and wanted that relationship with him, and it is what it is now. And my business has grown because of him, because of the connection. So,
You've been out 8 years. Like, how many years did it start to till it started to feel like I kind of know what I'm doing, or that point where you went, I feel like I'm dangerous now. I feel like, I know enough to get myself in trouble, and things started changing where you noticed the change in yourself.
well, there's different times for that, really, or for like with Alpha Elite Performance. I think it's always evolving just because of technology and TikTok. Like yesterday, we did our first TikTok live to sell products. Um, just because we've seen the change in revenue and growth in different platforms. So with Alpha Elite Performance, it's always changing. And again, we don't have a huge team that can help, that's always staying on top of what's next and what's best. We only have one, two, three. We only have 5 employees for Alpha Elite Performance for the most part, 4 employees. But as far as, I guess I've never thought that I'm to the point where I could be dangerous. There's always just been a growth, a nice, slow, steady growth. And I like that. I often wonder what would happen if the steady growth just skyrocketed, and then what would happen. I think I prefer the slow, steady growth that takes care of my family, um, more so than I thought I ever would. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really think about, success, and if, I'm to a point where I could be dangerous or it could be dangerous. Yeah, I don't know. I like slow, steady growth, and yeah, I like change too. I do like to change stuff up a little bit.
Yeah. I saw you got a new label for your pre-workout. I got to get a new bottle put back up here. I've had that
Yep,
bottle
we
there
did. New
all
flavor too.
I've had that thing there the whole time. I put this stuff back here, so I was like, somebody will ask about it. Man, nobody said anything. And I was like, yeah, whatever. I'm gonna change.
No, and I appreciate the product placement back there. If you want people to talk about it or really engage, you have to have it right up front in the camera.
No, it's
But it's that's a product. I actually just thought about that product this morning, like having a skull on there with night vision goggles and calling it pipe hitter, pre-workout. That really kind of just limits it to going after a veteran or a military, customer. Um, Maybe we should change that up. There's pre-workout out there now that are just plain and boring, and they look great on the shelf and they sell like hotcakes. Ours sells pretty well, but to get it out there to everybody, that would be like, okay, I could actually have this out at the gym and people won't question if I'm a veteran or not. I have people who can't wear a Green Beret Foundation or an AEP outdoor shirt because it's got something Special Forces on. Like, well, it wasn't Special Forces. No, you're just showing your support for that brand or, that nonprofit. You can wear that shirt. You can have that pre-workout. It's just a skull with night vision goggles and a helmet on it. Call pipe hitter. Who gives a fuck? Maybe it'll make you feel like you're a pipe hitter. I don't know.
It
But
is interesting, people's perceptions, right? And if they perceive like, "Oh, that's not for me," then they're not gonna go for it. And
yeah,
that's marketing. Like, you gotta
yeah,
have something to hit to everybody bases, and I don't know. It's always, it's something new every day. We'll figure it out, but, it's fun. I'm having fun. I'm content, but, we'll get to fulfilled as, as I alluded to earlier. I got 5 questions here that I ask everybody, and then I'll cut you loose. How's that sound?
yeah, dude. Let's do it.
All right, brother.
Fire away.
What is your response to thank you for your service?
My pleasure. I would do it again.
You've got that down cold. You
Yeah,
do you get it a lot still?
I do. Yeah, especially just in business on TikTok live yesterday. Lots of that. Also got a lot of bad comments too. But yeah, my pleasure. I would do it again.
Bad comments. I don't go on TikTok. I don't know anything about that, but
Oh
what
man, we are
happened?
paid. I mean, you can look at our brand, Alpha Elite Performance or
Oh,
red, white,
okay.
and blue colors. I'm a
Okay.
veteran. People jump on there to talk politics and to, poke fun at you. They saw my wife in her shorts and they're like, how can I get a wife like that? How can I get your wife? And I've learned how to block people really quick. It doesn't make me mad. It's flattering, I'm like, hey babe, this dude wants you. And she's like, oh, but it is what it is. People are just dicks. They like to troll.
Alright. What is the one characteristic that sets operators apart from the conventional forces?
Die trying, you know? I think I've seen people say, that they would die trying, and I've seen people damn near literally die trying. And just a self-reflection of leadership. I think that a soft dude uh, is a leader when he is away from those who can't see him being a leader. He's doing the right thing even when those aren't looking. So,
What's the one moment of your career you wish you could go back and relive or redo, and it wouldn't change where you are now?
um, God, I don't really have a of my life or just military career.
Your military career.
I've this is stupid. I've always felt guilty for smoking weed at airborne school. I did. Like somebody's like, yeah, we don't get piss tested at airborne school, and we had that weekend off or whatever. I don't know what the fuck it was, but I ended up smoking weed, and I've just felt like a shitbag ever since about that because, do the right thing when people aren't looking, right? So I had that lapse in judgment, and I've always felt guilty about that, and it was just stupid. So that's yeah, I would definitely fucking go back and not do that.
That's a new one. We haven't had that one come up yet. So, interesting though. It is, like, the things that stick with you that you'd go like, "Man, yeah, if that one core memory." It sucks that that's a core memory, But
Yeah, it is. I'm sure there's a lot of others I'll think about after the fact, but that's one that, I've just giggled at and just been like, God, what a bonehead thing to do, dumbass. Like what the fuck? You could have ruined your entire career, really. So yeah, they've entrusted you with this amazing school called Airborne, and you're over here fucking with it and possibly getting it taken away and getting kicked out of the military. So yeah, it's just not. Yeah, I've never done it since. So, but yeah, it bothered me. It's a little weird one, huh? You haven't had that one.
what's the best piece of advice that you received during your career?
It's funny that I've had so many. I've thought about a couple of them while we've been having this conversation, but my dad said it to me. Well, I was just try. And if you fail, just know that you tried and try again. And I did that. There were times that I failed, and but I just tried again, and then I always ended up passing. Most of the time, I passed, everything first time. But there's things that I failed and had to and redo. But also, we were talking about stepping over the bodies, and JT Winborn at that time. Um, we knew that the deployment coming up was going to be pretty active. And that was one of the things that he said to me, to everybody. We were standing there during CQB trainings, like, guys, you're going to have to step over the bodies to engage that target. And you need to do it. Don't stop. And so I took that in a lot of different contexts throughout my career, with just stepping over the bodies and essentially just, you know, achieving that task, whether it be, putting that enemy out of his mind or just, accomplishing what needed to be accomplished. You're going to step over those hiccups, those obstacles. Um, so I always took what he said and changed it a little bit into whatever situation was, I was in at that moment. So, you know,
I say a lot on here. There's a price to pay for everything. And to get to your mindset and what you're able to accomplish now, and to get to that of stepping over the bodies, that's a pretty, I mean, whether you say it is or not, there's a price to pay to get that attitude. There's a lot of pain. There's a lot of uh, bottling up of emotions and things like that to get to that point. Are you aware of that?
yeah, man, I've said it maybe once or twice in my life. There was a moment that I almost started a shotgun, and that was one of the obstacles, one of the bodies that I needed to step over. And luckily, it didn't take long to get over that. Um, so yeah, no, yeah, there's a lot of pain in that.
Are
Yeah.
you okay with that?
Yeah, man. Yeah, life has been good since being able to step over those obstacles. Yeah, life's been and like smoking weed at airborne school. I have I think about that, and God forbid I do anything that dumb again to lose everything that I have, to include my family, my wife, and you as a friend and everybody.
All right, last one, man. What were you afraid of then, and what are you afraid of now?
Sharks. The ocean. Like seriously, if people ask me what I'm afraid of, like I can, free fall was nothing. I went up there and I still do it today. That was the only thing. Like I would never have been a PJ like my father. I could never have been a pararescue guy because they're all scuba qualified. I was mentally mind fucked getting into the ocean. And then when we did do a dive requal in California and I was, surface swimming, to the Hotel Del Coronado, I couldn't surface swim fast enough while those guys were down there. And then when we get to shore, all they talked about was what the fuck did we run into that went whoosh,
Uh,
and they
uh-uh,
felt, yeah, yeah,
uh-uh.
pitch black. And even those guys are just like, why the fuck do we do this? I die for 225 is what they used to say, but they always used to talk about the scary shit that was under there. So my hat's off to the dudes that are dive qualified, Navy SEALs, the MARSOC dudes. Good on you. And I'm glad you guys do that shit because it's definitely needed, but it wasn't me. And that's what I was afraid of then. And oddly, still afraid of that today. Yeah, I'll jump into the lake that I live on and think about what's below me right now,
No, yeah,
you
exactly,
know?
exact same. Uh, I
And I
I'm
can
in the
swim very
pool.
well.
I'm in the pool 3 days a week, but man, if I can't see down in that water, oh, I fucking start having a panic attack, and then the waves
Yeah.
crashing. Oh, it's over. Fuck that.
Yeah.
You
But I love my scuba dudes. I'm glad they do it. Granted, there's never been a scuba insertion in special forces. But
ever. All right, brother. How can everybody find you on the socials if they so choose? You got a lot of them.
all right, man. Yeah, I do have a lot of them. If you guys, I mean, you can just Google Travis Wilson Green Beret, or you can go to This company, alphaeliteperformance.com, use code
LKO
L.
15 at checkout to save 15% on your order.
That's right. And then if you guys are interested in learning more about stem cell therapy and what we're doing, projectrecon.org. Hopefully you have it up there, but the E is a 3 for regenerative, all that good stuff. But projectrecon.org. And if you guys know anybody that might want to sponsor you for stem cell therapy, $9,000 is what it costs for 3 rounds total for stem cell therapy for the mind. And that is a very small price to pay for what stem cells would do for your brain. But that's the kind of money that we need to start raising per man. I've dumped a lot of my money into Project Recon for the website and all that stuff, and to pay for, Anna and what she's doing, the amazing job she's going to be doing. But yeah, we now need to get hot and heavy into raising money for projectrecon.org, and can't do it without your all's help, because it's a solution to, and I know for fact it is a solution. And we're not raising awareness for shit. We're providing a solution for mental health and brain health. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, we need to be aware there's a solution. I think that it's out there though too. So um, just getting the word out because everybody's curious, but I think their knowledge goes as deep as my question earlier. What the fuck are stem cells, and why is everybody so excited about them? Right? Because I mean, we don't know anything until somebody tells us and goes, um, "Okay, this person did them. It fixed this for them. Oh, really? Well, I got this. Will it work for me? Yeah, it will. All right. Well, sign me up. You know, uh,
Well, just know that there's umbilical cord, there's mesenchymal, in I would say that the ones that I've played with and worked with and used, umbilical cord blood stem cells. We are the only company that has FDA IND approved umbilical cord blood stem cells under the scope of research, so that we are providing the FDA with the materials before and after, so that they can see that, like, we're serious about this and stem cells heal, and they know, but we just want to let them know that we know and that we're doing good things for our community, both civilian and military.
all right, man. Well, as usual, I will have links to your socials in the show description. It was an honor having you on. It was great to finally sit down and have a long conversation with you, and I'm sure we'll have many more meetings in the future. You got anything for me?
I don't, man, other than what I've already told you, today. But you're killing it. You're doing great things. I see it. Everybody sees it. Those that see it and don't say anything, they will. They're going to come around. They're going to say something. You watch.
Really appreciate that, brother. It was an honor to have you on, and can't wait to see where this thing all goes. Bye, everybody.